All right.
I got lost real early there. Sorry, guys.
That's jazz for you.
Welcome back.
Cotter.
Lovely listener who we have missed.
Welcome back, Cotter.
I got the pink pen today.
Yeah, it's actually that is a set of pens that Christy got for me that I really like. This roller, what is it? The Uniball Signo.
The Unibrow Signal.
The Unabomber.
I like Unabomber.
The UNI Academy.
I just like writing things with it. Like I remember when she brought it home, I just wrote poop on a piece of paper a couple of times. Pope.
Actually, I like this pen, but I need something a little darker.
Yeah.
I'm blind.
We are back for another Dude's Day.
Yeah.
It is another thing.
It is.
That we are doing here.
Session 28.
Yep, our 28th episode. The 28th time. Welcome back to the Third Dude's Show. Yeah, so we are, it's the end of December.
Yeah, man.
It's getting kind of a little nippy
It's a
outside.
little Christmassy. We're getting it's a little Christmassy.
A little festive.
A little festive.
There's a bubbling bucket of beer sitting across from me.
Festivus.
Looking pretty good.
The holiday for the rest of us.
Yeah. Man, I never get that excited about Christmas.
Nah, not anymore.
Yeah, you lose it. You know what? You lose it as an adult.
Yeah.
Because the world beats it out of you.
Yeah, right.
And then if you ever have children, you get it back. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
You get it back for a brief moment until they grow up.
Yeah.
And become bitter and hateful.
As bitter and hateful as you were.
Right.
Sure.
And then it sucks for a couple years unless they start farting them out early. But then when you have grandkids, you get to be excited about life again.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. And that's American life in a nutshell.
Yeah, more or less.
It's just the space in between Christmases where we could be excited.
It sounds like your enthusiasm in general waxes and wanes relative to how many children there are to pretend for.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. That might be the smartest thing I've ever heard you say.
Well, that's a nice and depressing note to start
Welcome,
on.
everybody. How y'all doing?
Yeah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Yep.
It's the first day of Hanukkah today.
Is it really?
It
Yeah.
is.
Happy Cholidays.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was here already.
It's the first day of Hanukkah. Starts today, ends sundown on the 20th.
Oh, that's cool.
Ooh, hurry sundown.
You better take care. If I find you a great my bastards.
We should really be celebrating Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hanukkah's a good holiday.
It seems like a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one.
It's a good holiday.
I ignore it every year.
Yeah, well, it's because you're not Jewish.
Yeah, that's true.
None of us, as far as we know, are Jewish.
There's no Jew in me.
Yes.
No, not that
I think
know.
I'm probably some
Somewhere,
Jewish
well,
in
I
there.
mean, it's somewhere down the road. I'm sure there's some Jew.
I don't think the way you're saying it.
There's some. No. This is the thing. You can't say the word Jew without it sounding like.
I know.
Like-
Well, it's like I
like
think there's a
shitty
little
and bitey.
Jew in me.
Yeah, no, that's just how the word sounds.
Yeah.
I think there's some Jew in me.
Yeah.
It always sounds like you say it normally.
It really is all
I
the
think there's some
inflection.
Jew in me.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Not yet, but would you like some?
Right. But it always comes out like, I think there's some Jew in me.
Yeah, it's all inflection.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's not a problem. I just think maybe some Jew
I
fucked a great-grandfather or something.
I remember I had a geography professor in college who referred to the Jews as Judaish people because she really didn't want to say the word Jews.
Yeah.
Like it's not. It's a nasty word if you make it a nasty word. Otherwise, it refers to Jewish people.
I'll play devil's advocate here and say it's a great word. It sounds really good. Like as like someone who's into linguistics and English in general.
The Jews.
It's a good word. It sounds good. It feels good to say.
I've got this picture of my father looking every bit Hasidic.
Yeah.
And it just cracks me up. My father looks to every detail like a Hasidic Jew.
He's just
2,000% Jewish.
He's just missing the Jerry curl.
That's what kind of is.
That's all he needs.
I remember when this was like for Thanksgiving, and he was dressed up like that, and we're outside, and I'm like, I gotta get a picture of my dad looking as Jewish as he ever has.
Yeah. Well, I think, especially when you lose a lot of the hair, you know what I mean? You tend to get there, eventually. You got like a round head and,
The other interesting thing about my dad is he attends regular online Torah readings and stuff with people on Facebook. Like,
right? Isn't he into like Kabbalah or something?
yeah,
he
he's into Kabbalah. He's into like mysticism and stuff. My dad's like a real seeker type.
Trisha always said that if she was going to pick a religion, it would be Judaism because it was the one that made the most sense.
Yeah,
and like more like the Kabbalah mysticism. You know what I mean? Like the mystical. Energy, what I mean?
Plus, you got that sweet Jew gold.
Right. Right. And of course. Naturally.
That bag of inherited Jew gold.
Yeah.
That you carry with you always.
You got to control the media.
Right. You call this a turkey sandwich? You get to be, you get to be shitty but not shitty. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't.
Listen, well, no, it's just that this is a turkey sandwich.
I actually know what you're talking about. It's just this sort of like an
the cadence.
It's kind of like being a little dickish, but like what did I do?
Can we just like before we get into why we're fucked? Can we just throw this out there?
It's like white women and Jewish people,
right?
Like that same kind of.
Yeah, but Jewish people make it sound way better, like less annoying.
It's
it makes more sense when it comes from them.
It's fetching.
Yeah,
it's like a celebrated institution of the culture.
Sure,
you're not being an asshole. You're just kind of mildly griping until you have an excuse to really
about
gripe.
things that are usually. On point. I would say most of the time.
Have any of us ever met a Jewish person?
No, seriously.
Yeah, I used to work for a Jewish lady.
No, can we just throw this out there before why we're fucked comes up? What did the Jews do to anybody?
Yeah, right.
What did they do to anybody?
Oh man, what I do? Quote end quote.
Right.
The Jews.
Right. They've done historically just like these horrible. Millennia of persecution. They've done nothing.
Everywhere they go,
Nothing.
The world treats them like dog shit.
Yeah. Meanwhile, maybe second to the Greeks as a group of people, they're maybe the hardest working people who've ever walked the face of the planet.
They blend in everywhere. They as a culture, they do well everywhere.
There could be a Jew next to you right now.
Right.
No, it's just like as a culture, they've done well in the world. They blend into societies and
they're always wearing camouflage.
Yeah. But it's the first day of Hanukkah.
But okay, so I was looking up the meaning of Hanukkah because I always forget the circumstances and who did what. It's the Maccabees leading a revolt against the Seleucid Empire and winning. It was a guerrilla war. They won against the Seleucid Empire, and they put up a bunch of Greek god statues in their temples, so the Jews tore them all down.
Yeah.
And then they had to rededicate the temple in Jerusalem, and only had enough oil to burn for one night. But by a miracle of faith, it burned for 8.
Yeah. Which is kind of an interesting story to begin with.
Yeah. Well, and a practical story. It's way better than this guy got swallowed by a big fish.
Yeah. Right. The lesson I take from Hanukkah is have extra candles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's practical.
Yeah. I learned 2 things while I was looking up this information. One is that apparently, compared to other Jewish holidays, Hanukkah is not that big a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Passover is a bigger one.
Oh, the big one that just passed. What was it?
Rosh Hashanah?
Is that the one?
Passover.
Yom Kippur?
It just passed, so we passed over
it.
And now we're on to Hanukkah.
Yeah. This is turning into how much do you know about Jews?
Woo! And then the other thing was I learned that apparently Jewish holidays are commonly summed up as they tried to kill us, we won, let's eat. Which is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's true.
Yeah.
You know what? This is gonna sound really stupid, but I watched Fiddler on the Roof a couple months ago, and from time to time, I've been singing "If I Were a Rich Man." It'll pop into my head. It's so fucking catchy.
It's insanely catchy.
I went through a day where I just for 3 solid hours looked up different versions of people singing that song on Broadway.
Well,
it's really cool.
Do you remember in NCAA how there's like marching band fanfare in the main menu, and the little sting sounds like the first few notes of
it does. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I think when we last played it, and many times before, we would do that.
Yeah.
Just transition into that song.
Yeah.
Well, so anyway, thank you, Jews.
Thanks, Jews.
Thanks, Jews. We love you.
We do, actually.
You're the envy of us, anyways.
Yeah, no, for real. Let's give a special shout out to the Jews.
Yeah, really. On the first day of Hanukkah, special shout out.
Shout out to if there's anybody listening to this who happens to be Jewish. You know, happy Hanukkah. There's no joke here. I'm trying to be serious.
No, I'm laughing because there's always this like politeness about being anyone who happens to be.
Right. Yeah. I guess
isn't that like the construct we use when we're trying to be real clear that we're being nice?
Right. Exactly. You're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Anyone out there who happens to be?
This is like a podcast where we regularly fuck around and joke. And,
yeah,
you know what I mean.
We say a lot of indefensible stuff on the show.
Hey, Jews, enjoy your week. You get some presents and play some dreidel. Remember the miracle of the past. And do not fast, but feast instead.
I want this to continue so badly.
Hey, Jews, you call these bagels? no, fucking around. No, happy Hanukkah. Anybody's listening to this who's Jewish, happy Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Thank you for being consistently the people who've put up with the most.
Yeah.
And shook it in stride.
And sorry, the world is so terrible to Jews for no good reason.
Yeah.
That's all right, because now black people picked up most of the oppression slack. Yep. So it's
the tug of war is still ongoing. I'm not sure who's getting pulled.
Don't worry, the Muslims are next. They're going to pass that. They're going to pass.
It's like poetry, It rhymes.
All right. Well, anyway, we are this week, as we are every week, fucked.
Yes, we are.
We are fucked big time.
Are indeed.
I don't know if I don't have any real. I have like a cloud of current events.
Yeah.
In my head. We're fucked for like a bunch of reasons that all separately aren't maybe that big a deal. I guess.
But as a whole, it just
it's like the world is melting.
Sure.
I will tell you this one, and this is not one that you're probably expecting, but I will tell you what I found both sweet and annoying this week is celebrities all piling on.
Oh, to that kid.
This kid who he got bullied, and it probably was awful. And his mom posted a video on Facebook of him asking, why do they bully? Like why are bullies mean? Why are they like this? And he's like all upset and crying. Shitty. But the most unproportionate response I have ever seen.
Oh yeah, the people went nuts over that.
Hundreds and hundreds of celebrities tweeting and retweeting this kid. Hold on, because he got invited to movie premieres, he got invited to stage premieres, he got invited to go to sports games and everything by all these celebrities. He got invited to the Avengers by what's his name that plays Captain America.
He's gonna be his personal guest.
Yeah, and that's all cool, except it feels so insincere to me when hundreds and hundreds of celebrities pile on the cause of the week.
Let me give you an addendum here.
Yeah.
That kid in 2 or 3 years might go kill himself.
What?
Well, no, just listen. Like, without all that,
I thought you meant now.
No.
Having received all that positive attention.
No. There's a good chance that if that didn't happen, that kid would have went and killed himself.
The truth is, you don't know.
So whether it's insincere or not, and I agree with you. I do think it's all this, back patting and let's go support this kid. Ultimately, I'm thinking about the kid. And I was fortunate enough. I had friends who were loyal who would protect me. Yeah. So I never really had to deal with a lot of that bullying. Younger life and later on. But there's people who kids who fucking kill themselves because other kids are shitty.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what I'm really complaining about.
You're complaining about insincerity, and you're
right. That's what it felt like to me.
I agree. Yeah, I absolutely 100% agree. It totally did. It's a lot. It's that college white people patting themselves on the back. Right. You know what I mean? That.
I'm happy for the kid.
Sure.
The kid's mom is gonna lose her job from all the days off she has to take traveling around the world to go to all these events to take him everywhere. I mean, she's going to be busy taking her son to every conceivable opening of every event for the next year. But I don't know. It's like everyone feels real good about piling on the particular cause of the day or the week or whatever.
Sure.
And I don't really think anyone's doing anything to make the world a particularly nicer place.
I agree. No, they're not
Yeah.
fixing the problem, but like I'm thinking like if that kid gets some kind of satisfaction out of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that saves that dude's life,
Yeah.
you know, that's good enough.
And the fact that you know, the bullies have to sit back and watch all of this happen.
Exactly.
Which is really funny.
That's the poetic justice to it. I don't give a fuck about the other people.
Yeah.
I give a fuck about the fact that this kid is going to be the coolest kid ever. And the people who picked on him are now going to have to feel like shitheads every time he goes to school.
That's true. Actually, that's a really satisfying
This kid's
thought.
going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Seriously.
Jesus.
You know.
That's a good point. That actually brings me a lot of joy. Is the image of all those kids just kind of sitting there stewing.
Yeah.
As this kid updates his Instagram every 15 minutes with a new celebrity he met. It's kind of nice. I don't know. I guess I think maybe what it is that I'm just feeling very cynical.
Yeah.
These days.
Yeah.
And I'm having a hard time interpreting even nice things as just nice for nice's sake.
Who could blame you? I mean, like we're living in the cynical times,
Yeah.
which is great for people like you and me who are cynical.
Yeah.
Maybe not so great for people like Ben who actually like find joy in life.
For at least are capable of
Right.
optimism.
For us, we're like right at home.
No, but
This is,
but I get it. Like the thought's always in the back of my mind. Like, what if they're not doing this for publicity, or what if they're not doing this because it's the right thing to do, but because it gets their name in the headlines?
I guarantee that publicists all over Los Angeles picked up their phones and said, "You got to tweet this kid."
Sure.
Yeah.
And then they probably did that out of the goodness of their heart, but it still just kind of makes me feel weird.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, it's one of those things, man. But like, I feel like the ends justify the means there. Like, and even like, if this kid grows up to be a shithead, do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter because
right.
like he just right now he's not. He's just a kid who got fucking picked on.
Yeah.
Who didn't deserve it because nobody fucking deserves it.
Yeah, right.
Unless you're an asshole. If you just like are a kid who I don't even, like they're like, oh, they said he's funny. He looks like a normal kid. He's not.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing about him that's like.
Yeah, he looked like a normal kid.
Like if I was picking on him, I would be like hard pressed to find something. He just looked like a kid. Like
Yeah, right.
But
Nothing really stood out on him.
we all went through that jungle that is school. You know what I mean? And do what you have to do to survive. That is, I mean, as far as like human interaction, that was probably the shittiest time I think of my life.
Yeah, it was not good.
Nobody's nice at that age.
Right.
Yeah, right. Nobody's like just objectively nice.
Right.
Everybody is nice at the right times for the right reasons at that age.
Sure.
Right. But yeah, I feel like the ends justify the means. There,
Yeah, you're probably right.
Even though all these people are just doing it for the sake of doing it, I think it's okay because that kid now gets to walk into school and give the finger to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think it's a little disingenuous to be like, there's like God. What am I trying to say? I think it's not fair to say that like, this one thing happened and it's not solving the problem. But like this isn't the sort of thing that an average person would think about on a daily basis. But when it goes viral and someone picks up on it and is like, oh, this poor kid, I don't think that makes it less. I don't think it makes it less genuine just for that reason. Like just because none of these people have done any like anti-bullying things before.
Right. No. Right. I agree. Yeah, that's that could be true too.
Like with the recent hurricanes tearing up Puerto Rico, like no one would maybe a person who wouldn't think to donate to like an earthquake relief fund in India would probably do it for Puerto Rico just because it's a little closer to home and it's better covered in this part of the world.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it. I don't know. I'm thinking about like
honestly, you've diffused my cynicism.
No, I just
Shit has to enter your personal sphere first before you know, you got to be aware of it before you can do anything about it.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
Well, let's hear someone else's reason we're fucked, because I actually feel kind of better about that one and don't feel so fucked anymore.
I have two this week, actually. I'm going to touch on them both briefly. One, I know I've talked about...
She said.
Nice.
You know what I'm talking about?
You know what I'm talking about. You got it. Woo! Everybody at home? Talking about boobs.
Yeah.
Anyway. No, I have two. The first one is, I know I talked about this on the show before. I went back to Subway.
Oh man, is the Subway saga
We're going back.
continuing?
The Subway saga continues.
Oh man, what are you doing to yourself?
I went back to Subway. I think I told you last time about the manager who works at the Subway by my apartment, who is shitty all the time.
Yes,
like
he
has
did.
this poor attitude, makes the sandwiches wrong.
The one up on across from the
Like right up by the apartment complex. They're right around the corner. She I went in. So let me get real specific here.
Okay.
She does this thing where, like, when I go into Subway, I have to slow the order down because, as I've said before, it's like, I want a BMT on urban cheese. Well, let me get what kind of veggies? Or like, let me get spinach, lettuce.
By the way, urban cheese is the only
bread.
acceptable.
Right.
It really is the only bread.
It's the only bread, right? I don't
Everything
know why
else
anybody
doesn't count.
Right. But no, it's like, well, let me get onions, pickles, spinach, lettuce, jalapenos, and you say them all, and they'll go, okay, I got lettuce, what else?
Yeah.
Like, all right, spinach, onions, all right, what else? You know what I mean? Like, they have to do
Right.
So I
can't
always
remember more than 2 ingredients at one time.
So that's what I do. I break it down into twos. So I'll go lettuce and spinach, and then I'll wait. I'll go green peppers and onions, and then I'll wait. And I'll go, all right, and then pickles and the chipotle sauce.
Yeah.
So she gets mad when I do that. She goes, you could just tell. She told me the last time I was there, like, you could just tell me.
But she gets mad?
Yeah, she's like, you could just say it all. So I did it. I went into Subway and I fucking just the last time I was there, I threw it all at her.
Yeah.
And she forgot 2 things. And I'm like, you fucking bitch! Like you can't. And now I'm gonna do that forever because now I got her fucking number.
Yeah.
She's like, well, it's just it's the fucking the arrogant attitude. Like, no, you don't have to slow it down for me. I can figure it out. Yeah. Obviously, you can't. You fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Because, it's like, I'm not blaming you, but don't get shitty with me because I'm trying to clarify and you suck.
That's the thing, is both methods of ordering this should be completely acceptable.
Right.
If you want to say your ingredients 2 at a time and make sure you get the sandwich, no one gets to complain about that.
Right. Well, she fucking called me out on it. And the thing is, everybody else who works there, all our employees, fine. Just fine. No problems. Never had a concern. Yeah. Aside from the general hatred I have for Subway as a whole, and like how I'm always mad when I have to go in there. Kind of like when I go into Walmart,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just that I fucking hate this place.
And I hate them doing it again.
I could get a better sub from a different place.
Exactly, but I don't want to drive the extra 10 minutes. But yeah, no, it's infuriating, man. I'm getting to this point in my life where I want to be that middle-aged woman with the baby carrier at Starbucks. When you talk to I want to talk to a manager. I want to talk to somebody ahead of you. You know what I mean? I'm to the point where I want to submit a complaint.
Yeah,
and I can't do that because
you want to submit a complaint to life. I would like to file a complaint on this shit.
Demand to see Life's manager.
It just annoyed me.
I don't want your damn lemons. What am I supposed to do with these?
Make Life rue the day it decided to give Cave Johnson lemons. Do you know who I am?
No, seriously, you reach a point where you're just like, all these little inconveniences, I can't handle any of them anymore.
Yeah, it's too much.
I just can't do it.
On that note, I have another one. And I'm going to show you guys a picture.
Oh, boy.
To demonstrate this.
All right.
Let's see if he answered back. Yep, he did. All right, so let's get on this.
Okay.
All right. So there's a post that was on the local news about rival biker gangs shooting each other up last year.
What?
There's these
here.
Here there were these bikers that were at like a liquor store or something, and rival bikers walked in, and then they got into a fight, and the 2 that were there first, who objectively didn't start the fight, ended up dead. They're dead. So now these 3 guys from this other biker gang got, tried, and they just got convicted for manslaughter.
Yeah.
So I made a joke. I took because this is the picture on WKBN.com, right? So you can see my comment underneath there. This is so the comment I left on this picture was, look at this fat Steve Perry looking mofo. Because this guy, and this is one of the guys who got convicted. I think he got sentenced to like 10 years for manslaughter.
Right.
And he looks like Steve. Right, exactly. I'm not wrong. He looks like Steve Perry, but like tubbier. So I left this comment, and it's a fucking joke, right? We can all agree that I'm just fucking around. This guy left a comment on here. This dude. His name's Ray Dickey. It's on WKBN's Facebook page.
You're on notice, Ray Dickey.
Right. It's just this guy. So I left this
fucking guy.
But like, okay, guys, I showed you that, right? Like, I'm fucking around, right? Like, it's a joke.
That looks like a joke to me, anyway.
This fucking asshole, tagged me in a comment.
Did he write like a 3-page letter to you?
No, he just wrote. He said, Christopher, and he, like, of course he can't spell, which always just English major just throws me off. He says, Christopher, you don't look too skinny yourself. Shouldn't ... I love when people throw ellipses into shit. Shouldn't throw stones if you live in glass house, right? JS. I think that means
just saying.
Just saying. Yeah.
Okay.
JavaScript.
So like.
That's it.
Well, that's like he's like calling me out. Like he just like the joke. This is the joke.
Yeah.
And the joke just went like here, way over his head. Just,
yeah.
Like way.
Right. It's like you're clearly not really trying to.
I'm sorry. Are you defending this convict?
That's what I'm saying, right? All right. It's like I'm trying to throw a streak down the sideline, and he just took a post route, and it just went.
Yeah.
It's long gone.
Yeah, he totally did one of those things.
Yeah, but he wow, football, all right. No, but he just didn't get it.
No, I got what.
So okay, it's a joke. I'm not okay. First of all, yeah, I know I'm fat. I don't, but you're missing the point. The point is that I'm making a joke here.
Oh, Chris, it's all right, buddy. Chris, don't feel bad, buddy.
And second of all, I don't fucking care.
Oh, Chris, it's all right. Don't feel bad.
God, dude, don't. Don't get me going. Not you, man.
I know. I'm just kidding.
But no, it's just like
it's annoying.
It's like, but we're talking about it like a convicted killer here. What are we fucking talking about?
I know.
Like this guy killed somebody. Yeah. I'm making a joke at the expense of a guy who killed someone.
Yeah, right.
Like, what are we talking about here?
The appropriate response to that is, oh shit, he does look like Steve Perry.
Right, exactly. Yeah, right. And then it's done. It's a joke.
Move on.
So he left that comment, and this is just me reading my fucking Facebook comments, and I just commented back. I like how people on the internet are so dense that they feel like they need to come to the defense of everyone and everything. Yes, I'm fat too. How observant of you. It's a joke, homeboy. Lighten up.
Yeah.
And then he just commented back and he said, You're the joke.
You're the joke.
You're the joke.
No, the joke.
But I'm not gonna fucking engage in this because I have more important things to do with my life. But it's like,
he's sitting there right now, just doing the same thing that you did. Which is like, let him say something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, what a fucking asshole, right? But all right, and here's the thing: I have I'm left to center, right? All right, yeah. I always a lot of my stuff is,
yeah.
I have a lot of liberal beliefs, and nobody is shitting on liberals more than I am.
Yeah, right.
For not being able to take a fucking joke. I'm a guy who prides himself on making jokes and taking jokes.
Yeah.
And I'm always shitting on liberals. Of course, I did some snooping like you do whenever you're in an argument on Facebook with somebody.
You looked him up?
Yeah, I looked him up. He's one of those don't tread on me guys. You know what I mean? Please don't step.
Go around.
Yeah, he's one of those, you know what I mean?
Not a fan of the Stampedes, to be honest.
I will say, objectively speaking, liberals can't take a joke as good as conservatives can. Yeah. But then you got people like this guy who just missed the entire point.
It's changing. No one can take a joke.
No one can take a joke anymore. No one can take a joke.
And I think why is for a long time conservatives were real tired of liberals never taking a joke, and now they've learned that if they also learn not to be able to take a joke, that they get to act morally superior too.
Sure. Yeah. But the thing is, he's stupid. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not stupid. No, I don't care if you're just using shorthand online. But he didn't get the joke. Stupid. I have just there's this mental tick in my brain about when a joke doesn't land. It just It makes my eye twitch.
It's like when you go in for a shake and someone gives you the fist. It's like it just doesn't sit well. For
and the other thing is, I got likes on the post, so obviously other people picked up on the joke.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, you're like calling me out. Like, yeah, I know I'm fat. I don't fucking care. That's not the point, you idiot. Like, you're
tough crowd.
Tough crowd. Right?
You need to be nicer to people.
Yeah. What an asshole.
You are. What I love about this conversation is if you distill it down to its essence, it is this man is fat, and then someone else says you too are also fat.
Right. Exactly.
And then you saying basically.
I recognize
but he is a bad man.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
And then him saying, but you are not funny.
Right, that's you know that's the pulse of it. That's the pulse of it. But like, it's not even him saying you are not funny. It's him saying,
you are. I do not take you seriously.
I don't know what you're going for here, so I'm going to try and insult you.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing. He's like, I don't understand why this is funny.
You're the joke.
Right. Yeah.
Man, I sure showed that square.
Hey.
I bet all the fellas down at Archie's are gonna
It's just
really crack up over this.
It just fucking irked me. So, like, I'm fucked. I'm personally fucked because Subway sucks, and then there's people like Ray fucking Dickey walking around.
You're on notice, Ray Dickey.
Fuck you, Ray Dickey.
Learn to take a joke, Ray Dickey.
You could suck my Ray Dickey.
Quit being a Ray Dickhead. Ben, why are we fucked?
So we're fucked because in spite of recent good news, the fact that the incels subreddit was recently banned completely from Reddit,
wipe it off the face of the internet.
Incels still exist. They've just found other holes to crawl into, like chucking a grenade down a spider hole. You'll get most of them and you'll destroy the spider hole, but the remaining spiders will find some other place and make a new hole.
Yeah, and it's probably 4chan.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, there's actually like just old school like BBS forums, and fucking I think there might be a new subreddit with like a disguised name.
The thing that sucks about these motherfuckers is they explicitly talk about raping people, but they use coded language. They call it rope. Did you know that? They call rape rope so they can talk about rape.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
It's not fooling anybody.
And it's also incredibly creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, incel is short for involuntarily celibate. It is a noun used to describe someone who has never had sex, but not by choice. The unfuckables.
Yeah, the lowest caste of the internet caste system.
Yeah, and perhaps
some might call them kissless virgins,
and perhaps not even unfuckable because of anything but their personalities.
Yeah,
they just have real shitty personalities. They might look okay. They might
Yeah. Although my suspicion is they don't smell great.
Probably not. But they decide to blame this on genetics and the fact that women are predisposed to men with superior genetics and that they're therefore subhuman.
Oh, you mean like the rest of the animal kingdom? People like the rest of the animal kingdom like mates with good genetics, or just people who are washed.
But that's the trouble. It doesn't have anything at all to do with genetics. It has to do with these guys
being scumbags,
striking out, giving up, and resenting women for it.
Right.
So it's the fact that they still exist, and the fact that it's super easy to find posts about. I saw one about why can't we marry girls at like 4 years old and groom them to adulthood, so that way that they're and
it's insane,
twisted shit like that. We're fucked because there are actual people who think that way, and they have a community in which these ideas can fester and grow like a mold, and pollute the collective respiratory tract of the internet.
Part of the corruption of their logic, and I just want to pit incel logic against incel logic for a second, is that they seem to think that it's almost like a human rights issue. That they deserve to get their dicks sucked.
Everyone is entitled to sex, which is not the case.
But if you assume it is the case, then why can't they just compel each other to bang each other?
Right.
Why aren't the incels banging the incels?
Well, I mean, they're not fags.
This is what I'm saying. I think there should be established...
Well, there you go. Like, I mean, there's your conundrum. It's like, well, we're still attracted to women, but, well, fuck women, you know.
Just do a glory hole situation.
Right.
Get them all in an apartment building together.
Get a job and buy a hooker like the rest of us.
Right. If you know how many massage parlors are in this area?
It's just so stupid. The idea that you're entitled just by your existence to someone wanting to fuck you.
Yeah, and for what?
Or even if not wanting, just they have to, because you want it to be.
And for why? To pass on your genes? you by their logic, their genes are inferior, so why would they want to?
Yeah, right.
It's such a fucking... I mean, and of course there is no logic to it. It's 100% desperation.
People, yeah.
Smelly, fucking disgusting desperation.
Just people with bad attitudes and bad lives.
The bad lives. That's what it boils.
Living in a crawl space with fucking hentai posters on the wall, jars of their toenail clippings.
I know we just talked about how bad bullying is.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but now these people deserve to be bullied. Come on.
It's when you let that kind of ugly shit out into the world, you get what's coming back.
Sure.
If you can be ugly on the outside. One of my clients who I do radio with has a saying that I love. Beauty is only skin deep, but ugliness is to the bone.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
Which is totally true. It's 100% true.
Oh, you got him.
Did I get it?
You did.
No, it's still here.
A truly ugly person is ugly all the way through.
I got him.
Oh, you got it?
Yep. He was on that butt end of the cigar.
So tired of bugs.
All the way from surface to soul.
Yeah.
An ugly person is a truly ugly person. Is
So they've
ugly all the way through.
recongregated. You're saying they've found each
They're
other again.
recongregating, and of course they have. I'm sure they PM each other and regularly. Like, I'm sure there's someone out there right fucking now, who has been for the past 10 years. Taking turns with another person who lives on the opposite end of the country, and they both take turns role-playing as women to get their fucking rocks off. And they've been doing this for 10 years, every night.
It's like prison.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like that awful scene in the fourth season of House of Cards where Lucas is talking to dude through jerking off from the top bunk.
I know.
They've got a shoebox next to the desk.
No!
Oh, God,
I don't want to think about the cum box anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, you
God.
don't.
The worst thing I learned on the internet in a long time was that box.
But that's why we're fucked is I guess why we're fucked is people can't take responsibility for having ugly fucking personalities.
Yeah.
Sure.
And can't see their way into a lot of life. I gotta be real with you.
Get real, man.
I gotta be
real
with
talk.
you. I'm almost
Get smart. Get real.
I'm almost 30.
Yeah.
And what I'm coming to realize is sex is kind of okay. It's not the best thing in the world.
Yeah, it's like I'll take that or a really good pizza at either one.
Yeah.
I think the best sex is at the end of a night where like everything has gone right. Like you've gone to like a wedding reception or a party. You got some real good food. Maybe you had a few drinks.
Yeah.
You came home and watched I don't know. You came home and watched Firefly or something.
2 hours of Cops reruns.
Until you decide, look, let's just take each other's clothes off.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a good end to a good day.
Yeah.
I think
Or a good start to a good day.
Sure.
Or a good middle to a good day.
A good after lunch social.
Yeah. To a good day.
Afternoon delight.
Thinking about it, I think sex is like any other thing that if it is absent completely in your life, you starve for it.
Yeah.
But if you have it around, you don't put it on a pedestal. It's another part of your life.
Yeah. At the same time, I think it's a little overrated.
Right. I don't know if it's overrated.
Well
I would
go
say
without it for a really long time. And you won't think so.
I would say overrated, but I would say that I would say that it's a drive. It's a base drive, like breathing or eating.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah,
like
you know,
eating.
like,
I
yeah.
think it's like eating.
Right. It's well, I mean, it is like eating.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking
Kind
about?
of is eating.
Yeah.
But no, it's a drive.
And much like eating, I prefer ranch on everything.
Anyway, I guess we'll be back.
Yeah, we could take a little break here.
I call it the Hidden Valley experience.
Boink. Let's take a little break here. We will come back with what we are smorpin' and what we are dorpin'. And welcome back.
Hey,
We are back.
we are back. I was
back.
just gonna say,
Welcome back. We're
back.
now back.
We're back. In fact,
My God, I could not. There we go. Couldn't twist that beer off. I got little baby hands.
I know must be the baby.
These little teeny little baby hands with sausage fingers.
Yeah, oh my.
You know what I was thinking about the other day, and this is totally off topic. You ever see those things where it's like a chemical peel for your feet?
Yeah.
You put your feet in the bags with the weird liquid, and then
Yeah.
your feet just start peeling, and then your feet. Well,
Your feet start feeling.
yeah, I was thinking that might be fun to do.
Yeah. I always wanted to do the blackhead mask for my face, like the big one that comes off.
Aubrey's wanted to do that with me for a long time.
I want to do it.
Is that the green thing, or what am I thinking of?
No, it's it's an actual, like, it's black. It's like this. It turns into this. It goes on wet and it turns. It goes on wet and it turns into this hard, like, rubbery kind of like thing that you peel, and it takes the oil and the blackheads out of your skin.
No kidding.
Yeah, like, but it's basically like putting low grade peelable duct tape on your face.
Yeah, right.
Sucking all the oil out.
That sounds all right.
Yeah.
I'd do that.
I want to do it.
I want to peel my face off. So, topic for this week. Oh, no.
No.
We have something else to do.
Yeah.
I almost skipped the best part of the show. How are they going to enjoy it unless they know what we're smorping and what we're dorping?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so out of other words for this.
It's all right. Yeah, we're done.
Smurfing and dolphining.
Yeah, we've already done all of them.
It's over.
It's over. I mean,
Man.
like we had 28 episodes. We had a good run.
I wish we really should put a little energy into thinking of
Better things.
names for
Yeah.
smorpin and dorpin.
Yeah.
But I'll start because mine is boring. I am still quit from cigarettes.
Good.
Today is the 3-week. Is it 3 weeks or is it 4 weeks?
That's it.
I think it's 3 weeks.
3 weeks sounds right.
I think it's 3 weeks.
That's it.
That's well, I mean,
That's
it's
right.
Feeling a lot better. I've put a lot of work into it.
That's it.
That's right.
Yeah, well, I also got into doing a little walking.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah, well, I also kind of starved myself so I can, improve my health on several fronts.
That's right.
I also hate myself.
Yeah.
So I am still on the e-cig. That's the annoying noise that you keep hearing.
The robot dick you're sucking on.
That robot's dick I'm sucking on.
You're sucking on that robot dick.
In my head, that was such a funnier joke.
Yeah.
Where it was like, yeah, just every couple hours this robot comes in and I have to suck his dick, but at least I'm not smoking.
Yeah.
Never panned out that joke. But so I am smoking the robot dick still. Well, it has a pleasing blueberry flavor.
Yes.
And I am drinking something that is always reliable, George Killian's Irish Red.
Yeah, this famous Irish Red.
His famous Irish... George Killian. He brewed it for his many friends, if I remember correctly.
You're going to blast on this little robot dick here.
Yeah, have a little blasty blast with that robot dick.
Yeah, George Killian.
Vape Nation.
The one,
Oh, God.
the George Killian's the one with the horse.
Yeah, the one with
The
the horse
one
on
with
it.
the horse.
Made a real horse.
Mm-hmm. I would drink it if it was horse.
All right.
It's delicious.
Have either of you ever eaten horse?
No, have you?
No, I'm just very curious all of a sudden as to how horse meat tastes.
I've eaten bear.
Well,
I mean, like, if that's...
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think those are at all similar in texture or
Well,
consistency.
They would both be gamey. I would assume.
think
I would assume horse is really gamey and stringy.
I would think bear would be a little fattier.
Yeah.
Well, it is, but it's still stringier. It's game.
Yeah.
It's definitely wild game, but yeah, it does have some fat on it.
I would
It's a
think
fat bitch.
if you ate SpaghettiOs between the months of May and September of like 2013, you probably had horse. I'm pretty sure there was some horse in there. I can't remember. Someone got meat recalled because there was horse.
Well,
This was a year or two ago. It was Tesco in the UK.
That's it.
Was selling beef when it was actually horse meat.
You know what's great about
there was
that?
quite a row about it, if I do recall.
What I love about that is you couldn't possibly have fucked that up by mistake.
Right. Oh yeah.
Like it's not like they're going down the chute and you go, "Yep, cow.
Oh shit, horse!
Yeah, it's like
cow, lanky cow.
yeah, weird cow with a funny mane.
You put them in the big cement mixer blender.
All this goes in and some hooves come flying out.
all
That's how it works, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Da 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 ba da da da.
There's like some grizzly crypt keeper looking Oompa Loompa guys outside a big vat that just says meat. And it comes out in like a tube at the end.
Tim Burton presents Upton Sinclair's The Jungle.
What do you get when you grind up a horse? You repackage it and sell it as beef, of course. I don't know.
But what if you get caught by the law?
Then that's when you issue a recall. You won't catch the worst of it.
All right.
Hey, we're all right today.
Yeah. Hey, we're on.
Yeah, we're all right.
Doors. Do you think you would ever eat horse?
Oompa Loompa Doopa Dee Des. Yes.
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 All right, I am smoking that Cafe Colombian Mocha that doesn't really taste like mocha pipe tobacco from Havana House.
How long have you had that now?
I just got it last week. It's
Oh,
brand
okay.
new.
Yeah, I finished the other one.
I bought significantly, fewer ounces of tobacco this time, so I don't have to work on it for months.
It occurs to me, if you want, you could probably use the vacuum sealer in my kitchen to seal that bad boy out. Yeah, keep it fresher for a little longer.
So yeah, I'm smoking that. I'm also drinking more of that Lafroig. Smoking
Lafroig.
Lafroig. Yeah, I got the Lafroig 10 year. I'm enjoying it.
Frog.
And I'm drinking Miller Lite, my staple.
Hell yeah.
He was a good friend of mine.
Well, I am not schmorping anything this week. I've had cigars the past couple weeks. I decided to give it a little break.
A vacation from La Perla.
Le Perle.
But today was the first, honest to goodness snowfall we've had this season.
Yeah.
And it's fucking cold out. It's 20 degrees earlier, around 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So I decided this is the best time to get the Great Lakes Christmas Ale.
Yes, it is.
That it is. And you know what a fantastic beer this is.
Featuring a little green wagon full of red Christmas bulbs.
Of all the great Christmas ales that come out this time of year, that is my favorite.
Yeah.
It's very good.
It almost over delivers on the spicy notes, but it manages to do it without being too sweet.
Yeah.
Which I really like.
There's a little bit of
It really does warm the belly.
a little bit of a story around this, which I'm sure you know. I think we've talked about it, but not that long ago, maybe a couple of years ago, the brewmaster from Great Lakes left to go join Thirsty Dog.
Yo.
And they started doing
I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah, I think they're doing a Christmas ale right now that has a lot of notes of the original Great Lakes Christmas ale, and this is slightly different than it used to be. I don't taste the difference, but that's what people have to say about it. I think it's a fantastic beer. Yeah. I love it every year. I look forward to it coming out. Sure.
Well, and I'm a Scotch drinker, and craft beer drinkers and Scotch drinkers are similar in that we like to pretend that we know more than we do.
We're twats.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's why,
It's a little bit pretentious to get that into anything you like.
Sure. Well, that's the thing. Well, we did this, the smoking and drinking thing was like a spoof on like here's what we're smoking, you know. But
Yeah,
like,
right.
That's actually what we're doing every week. You know that, right? Like,
Yeah, right.
Well,
Like it's no longer in
But
jest. We
don't
doing
sit
it.
around jacking ourselves off talking about notes.
We did it. We did an entire episode where we did just that.
yes,
Right.
but in our daily lives, we go to like I've been drinking Molson Ice lately.
Yeah,
right.
right. Oh, I like Molson. That's a good shitty beer.
Again, it goes back to it's actually not bad.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a good
shitty
good
beer.
shitty beer. Yeah.
But it goes back to that old analogy of you can enjoy a $20 steak just as and you can enjoy a $2 cheeseburger just as much.
Yeah, right.
It's not a.
Man, I want a cheeseburger now that you said that.
It helps to. It always helps to appreciate something, but it's when you put other people down for what they like.
Yeah.
That's when you turn into a twat.
Yeah. It's funny because we got this one of my coworkers.
I don't drink domestics. I drink micro-crafted, whole grain,
free range beer.
Free
free-range beer, organic beer.
It's given room to roam around. They roll the barrel around the field a couple times a day.
Certified vegan beer, gluten-free somehow.
Yeah, that's a thing too. That's a thing. Gluten-free beers.
How do you make gluten-free beer? That shouldn't be possible.
It's in what you're fermenting. Believe it or not. I don't. So like rice, I believe has gluten. Wheat has gluten.
Grains in general have gluten, including barley and hops, right?
I know there's something that they use. I want to say it's like a. It's sort of like the way that stevia is a sweet plant without sugar or whatever. They use something that's like got sugar but not like a glutinous.
It's not a GMO, is it?
carbohydrates.
Because I can't eat GMOs.
Beats the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
I can't eat GMOs.
It's gonna alter my DNA, man.
Oh God.
You know what? That's something we should probably do one time on Goose Chase.
The GMO
talk about
thing.
GMOs.
I was big into the organic non-GMO thing for a while, and then when you take the trip down the rabbit hole on that.
Yeah.
GMOs
Or listen to Bill
GMOs,
Nye for a few minutes.
Let's get this out of the open. It's fine to eat GMOs.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's actually going to save the human race probably. So just be okay with it.
Virtually every single thing we eat is a GMO in some way or another.
Right. Exactly.
The process of breeding things modifies them.
Sure. Right,
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's only when you call it a GMO that it sounds weird and sciencey.
Yeah, When I feel like when a stupid person thinks of a GMO, they think of it as being like a genetically modified organism. They think of it as like a comic book serum injected into like a banana.
Yeah, and the banana grows a bicep.
Yeah. I think that's what stupid people think when they hear the term genetically modified organism. They think the Incredible Hulk.
Sure. I was big into the they're fucking with it. Take a dive down the rabbit hole, folks. Like do your own research. It's fine.
Yeah.
You're right. It's going to save us.
It's going to save us ultimately because we're running out of a lot of shit.
We've got a lot of people, and they're all hungry.
Right. Exactly.
That's not to understate the importance of knowing what it is you're putting into your body.
Sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, I like to start out with a big shot of Agent Orange every day. Shooting it.
Yeah, right. Listen to us giving health advice.
Yeah, right.
But keep in mind, you're gonna die one day anyway.
Right. No matter what you do.
I had a guy sitting next to me today at the bar, and he's a friend of mine. But I was up at the club for visiting my grandpa, and I'm sitting next to me.
Bar, he's a friend of mine.
Yes, exactly.
Gets me my
He's
drinks.
talking about GMOs.
But he's sitting next to me, he's getting drunk and real drunk, and he's telling me, you gotta watch. He's telling me I gotta watch my diet. So one of these days you're gonna, and I'm like, you're fucking drunk as a skunk right now. You're gonna tell me how to live my life.
All right.
I was like, come on, man.
grow my livers now.
It's like, I get it. I'm fat. Leave me alone. Anyway, let's move on to our main topic here. This is something I just wanted to talk about, and it feels appropriate as we're moving into winter. We're going to be spending increasingly more time indoors, right? We're going to have to find more ways to occupy our time.
I don't know if you can spend any more time indoors than I do.
I think even more. I know, me either.
I'm just gonna start chucking my trash out the window instead of taking it to the dumpster.
Yeah, right. Install a little line to just run it out.
Shit, that's a good idea, man.
Not a bad idea.
Oh shit, Aubrey's here. She's here to get those records.
Oh boy. Oh, you went out? Yeah, let her. Well, is the door unlocked? It should be unlocked.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Let's all go to the
Where are
lobby.
the records?
Which? Huh? Why don't we take a little break and figure out what the hell's going on here? I don't want to move on to the main topic.
No, don't move on to the main topic. This is. Oh, the records for me. Ooh, there's records. Dave, you're on your own.
Wait.
No, you're on your own.
No,
Dave.
I
Make
can't.
it interesting.
I can't do it by myself.
Make it interesting.
Oh my God. Dave actually left me here to host this podcast by myself. I don't know what to... Oh my God. I feel like I'm just going to default to just explaining my surroundings. I got almost nothing. Wow. Okay. I had a dream recently that my grandma's dead. She came through my front door. That was really alarming. Because she's been dead for like 10 years. I dreamt she just walked right into my house, and I was like, oh my God, that's my grandma. And then I woke up. I was startled. Oh my God, I have nothing here. I mean, I guess I could just kind of keep doing this. You don't want to listen to this. Made some nice new purchases recently. We got new microphones for the podcast, which is actually really exciting. Because for a long time here, we've been doing this same podcast, and even our YouTube show, we've been doing with just this single Blue Yeti microphone. And this sounds not quite ideal, so we're looking forward to probably early in January. We're going to do a second wave of this podcast with better audio, and that's a big improvement. I'm really excited about it. We got a great deal, so it's really going to change the show, I think. God, I had another dream. Oh, God, what was that other dream I had? I had a dream where I think I told it on... No, I did tell it on here. The one where I had to buy Christy's stepbrother roller skates. And then Oprah was there, and Oprah and Whoopi Goldberg both helped me buy the rollerblades. So it was like a really weird thing, and I thanked Oprah and Whoopi for helping me buy the rollerblades. I think I told it on this show already.
What?
Yeah, I'm no longer alone again.
What are you talking about?
I was just talking about a weird dream I had.
I just got 2 boxes of records delivered to me.
What exactly happened just now?
Oh, I just got a delivery of like 100 records.
Aubrey's father had records he was trying to get rid of, and
Okay.
we've given them to Chris.
Yeah.
Well, now that you're back, do you want to hear about the dream I had?
Nope.
Okay.
I'll listen to it later.
All right. So what's this topic?
Oh my God. I'm gonna probably end up cutting all that.
No,
out.
don't cut it. Keep it.
No.
That was really weird. I did not know what to say.
Yeah, just keep it. Just keep it.
All right.
Fine. Let's go.
Moving on.
Yes.
So insane. So it's winter. Mm-hmm. And we're
It
gonna
sure
be
is, buddy.
we're gonna be spending more
chilly
time
out there.
indoors. It is chilly out there. We're gonna be spending more time indoors. We gotta find ways to entertain ourselves. And I thought it might be a nice time to talk about. I know we generally sometimes do, but I would like to talk about all of our favorite movies. It's one thing that we really haven't dedicated like a whole episode to. We've done it in parts.
Yeah, we have.
But we've never really sat and talked about all of our favorite movies.
I would like to say, if you weren't going to do if anybody else wasn't going to do this topic at some point, I was.
Yeah.
It's been on my radar. I just didn't want to do it too close to like a music topic. So
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we obviously we all really like movies, and we even like videos about movies.
Yes, we do. Yeah, right.
Big fans of like Red Letter Media
Sure.
and stuff like that. And I just thought it would be cool now that we're moving into the winter time here to talk about some of our very favorite movies.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a recommendations episode if we haven't all seen it. Whatever the movie is.
I haven't watched nearly as many movies as I should. I need to remedy that for sure. But
Me too. I'm more of a TV guy, and I'm pretty light on movies.
I'm a huge movie guy.
I'm a video game guy, so we got all 3 bases.
Yeah, I would say I
Right.
like good TV and I love good video games, but the older I get,
So whenever we talk favorite movies, one movie for me always comes to mind, and that is Collateral.
it's a great movie.
Starring Jamie Foxx
That's a
and
good
Tom
flick,
Cruise.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's Michael Mann. You might remember him from another phenomenal movie called Heat.
Yes, which I was awake for 95% of, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long one.
Yeah.
Heat, incidentally, the movie featuring the greatest shootout scene in movie history.
Oh God.
Yeah,
it's special.
Yeah, it's
something
really good.
Everything you know about everything you think of when you think of a bank heist, robbers in suits firing machine guns and all.
Yeah.
That comes from that comes from The Italian Job, and two, that comes from Heat.
Yeah, right.
That's all.
It's crazy how influential a movie can be.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Like it can spawn, that sort of story archetype in every other subsequent telling of anything similar.
Yeah, and Collateral's great. It's the story of Jamie Foxx, who is a cab driver who picks up Tom Cruise, who is a hitman and is being held hostage by him as he goes around L.A. Killing guys. It's all about just being afraid to die and making something of your life. It's a great movie. But recently, I've been trying to get Aubrey to watch one of my other favorites, which is Blade Runner.
Oh man, that's a.
I just watched that not that
That's
long
a
ago.
fucking.
For the first time? Or
No,
okay.
I rewatched
Okay.
it, but Christy had not seen it.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
think.
Yeah,
classic,
Aubrey hasn't seen it either,
Yeah.
and I want her to so much because I'm really. It takes a lot for me to like a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
It's got to have a bigger purpose behind it, and whether that's the Star Trek: The Next Generation, exploring our place in the universe, whether that's The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Yeah.
It's one of my dad's favorite sci-fi movies ever. It's got to have some kind of purpose behind it, and Blade Runner, not only I think Philip K. Dick described it as like they reached into his brain and pulled out what this world looked like in his head.
Right, yeah.
It being a visual marvel on the one end, and then also just having like one of the best final acts of any movie I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, and without spoiling anything, if nobody at home has seen it, maybe the single greatest monologue ever delivered on film.
And he made that up.
Yeah,
he rewrote that monologue, Rutger Hauer did,
Wow.
and delivered it without anyone else knowing. So the legend goes.
And it's
It's arresting.
Yeah, it is.
It's an incredible story of what it means to be a person or a human or an individual.
What it means to exist.
Yeah,
What it means to know that you're alive.
Self-awareness.
And
Sure.
the things that you experience are your own.
Sure.
I think the best science fiction does this thing of translating, some very like core central human truths through a complicated scaffolding of like future tech.
Right.
Or uses that tech to find ways to express things to us that we hadn't thought about that way.
The original
Yeah.
Star Wars trilogy comes to mind. The
Really?
the lightsaber fights are a really good example of a delivery system of struggle, like internal struggle.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
Sure,
but
but
it's just being shown to you.
yeah, very very good presentation of what would otherwise be a basic and unremarkable story if
Correct.
it wasn't for the fact that it was directed and shot by masters of the craft.
Right.
Worth mentioning that very soon Amazon is going to be dropping, just on the note of Philip K. Dick, they have a series coming out called Electric Dreams.
I'm so excited.
It looks so fucking good.
Really, I mean, any movie that I can think of that was a Philip K. Dick adaptation is
They're all good.
they're all good.
Total Recall.
Total Recall,
Scanner
Minority
Darkly,
Report, Scanner Darkly. That's the
I
one
always
was thinking
forget
of.
Total Recall is a Dick story.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I'll tell you a dick story.
that's it. No, Scanner Darkly, which
Yeah.
breaks my head. That's a really good.
There's more we're
well-acted-
forgetting about, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
I
There's
can't
plenty.
remember what
There's
they
plenty.
are.
Yeah, there's a lot. If you like really good, like in particular, like sci-fi that makes you think a lot, you want to read and then watch Philip K. Dick.
I think the successor is Black Mirror.
Black Mirror. Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah,
and
for sure.
and that goes into another thing that good science fiction should do well, which is not only shine a light on humanity and its perception of itself, but its perception of itself at the time it's being made.
Yeah.
The original Star Trek was really good for that.
Yeah, indicative of the times. Like, it's addressing its
Right.
its audience in real time.
Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country.
Which was, I think, Portugal.
Very,
Yes.
very, very obvious Cold War metaphor, but a very powerful one.
Sure.
It should absolutely be pertinent to the times, which is why, again, Black Mirror is so good.
Yeah.
Twilight Zone, certain episodes, may not scan very well in
Sure.
today's audience,
But you can.
there are some episodes that just I think I mentioned before, The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street is like my favorite Twilight episode ever.
I think we watched it together. I can't
Yeah.
remember. I think we did. I know I watched it.
It's the one where they think a UFO crashed outside their neighborhood, and all the neighbors start getting more and more suspicious and turn on each other.
Yeah, paranoid.
It's my favorite Twilight Zone episode that I've ever seen. It's so good.
While we're on science fiction and movies,
Yeah.
and we were talking about this one not that long ago, have to rewatch 2001.
Yeah,
Space
I would say
Odyssey.
one like the movie that of all the movies I've watched, and I like lots of scary movies, lots of horror movies, lots of mystery. Maybe the one that scares me the most is 2001 because it's you know what I mean, like especially entering like the world of the future. You know,
Yeah, right.
It's like. The way I'm a big fan, and when I get to my stuff, I'm going to talk about it. I'm a big fan of if I ever had the chance to go back to school to do something fun, it would be for cinematography.
Sure.
I'm a big fan of camera work, camera position, and choice of lens and focus.
And the implications made by the way that something is shot.
Right. And 2001 does that very well. Very well. It's horrifying. The movie scares the shit out of me.
The thing too about 2001 is I feel like there are some people who almost look down their nose at it because they figure it's like high-minded snobbery or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think there's a danger of overthinking 2001. I think there's a danger of thinking that you didn't get it once you're finished with it, but you probably got it.
You got it. Yeah.
It's not a tough movie to understand.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's one
It
of
is
those.
abstract.
Right.
Sure.
This is a thing. Like, I have a feeling we're going to kind of delve between TV and movies at certain points here. But when the first season of the show on HBO, True Detective, came out, which I would recommend to anybody, it's a phenomenal show.
Yeah.
But that was one of those things where you'd go on message boards and you'd hear people talk about the show, and they're like searching for this deeper thing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, the show's presented in that way where, like, you could do that, but you don't have to. Do you know what I mean? Like it just is. Yeah, I'm a big fan of
Breaking Bad is really the same way.
Taking things at face value.
So much, but then there's so much subtext you could talk about for days and days.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of the best media does that.
Sure.
I know for a fact that the two films we've already talked about, Space Odyssey and Blade Runner, have both generated so many more questions than they made statements.
But there is something to be said for taking something at face value. You can understand it. You know what I mean?
One thing I've been asking myself since the end of Breaking Bad is, like, for example, was Walter White always such a merciless person,
and he just lived his whole life,
or did that change over what we saw, or was he just always that way at his core?
Right.
There's no way to tell one way or another. Really.
I think the show offers us a hint, and it is that early first season where he's talking to his class about the fact that chemistry is the study of change.
Right.
And he shows how inheriting just a single electron can change this element to this, and how very subtle changes produce radically different things.
Yeah.
So I do think that the implication might be that a little bit of each, that the potential for that was always in him.
Yeah.
But that it is in fact changed.
As the potential may be for any one of us.
Sure.
Yes.
Anybody.
I think that's actually a central statement of the show.
Exactly.
Mencken once said, every man at some point in his life must be tempted. It's something like, I'm paraphrasing, every man at some point in his life must be tempted to curse, spit on his hands, and hoist the black flag.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that probably Breaking Bad has some of the most interesting character work I've ever seen.
Oh,
Honestly.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But the thing with Space Odyssey that makes it work so much, I think in a huge way, is isolation.
Yeah.
It's the sense
It's
of absolute
Nothing.
emptiness.
Same reason the Alien movies worked. The first one and Aliens, I'm thinking in particular.
Yeah.
The first one especially is like a
great
mastercraft of horror.
Yeah.
And it still holds up visually. Like I know, like with disregarding like effects, but visually speaking, the design of the Giger, like taking from Giger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
And the ship itself, the Nostromo or whatever,
oh my
right?
God. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just visually arresting the way it's presented and scary.
Yeah.
And you know, just
Yeah, I think it's even more jarring when you consider the fact that the crew is asleep for before the movie begins.
Yeah.
They're in like this hyper sleep, and
Right.
they just wake up and are like, all right, what's the ship situation? Well, they've just gotten out of bed and they got
Right.
to deal with this fucking creature from outer space.
Right,
You know?
right.
Yeah.
Same
Good morning.
Yep.
Same deal with like that really is like the big.
The little mouth comes out and
Takes
takes a sip of coffee.
Sip of coffee.
But that really is the like it should be at least the keystone of good horror is isolation.
Yeah.
I find myself. I find it really difficult to get scared, like if I'm playing a game where I'm armed to the teeth and it's supposed to be scary.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've got like a demon or a ghost or whatever following me, and then there's like these horrible monsters and weird shit going on. But then I've got a machine gun in one hand, a rocket launcher on my back, and like 5 grenades.
Right.
I find it very difficult to be afraid.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, let me.
And a similar thing happens when you have a cheap horror movie or slasher film where it's like everything takes place within like a high school, a densely populated area,
Yeah.
and there's really no reason to be scared.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
You
guess
just kind of have to take the movie's word for it.
let's stay in that vein, and I'm going to segue to one of my favorite movies, which is a recent movie. It's a movie called The Witch.
I knew you were going to say that.
Made by a first-time director, Robert Eggers, is a first-time writer-director of this movie. I want to talk about it because it just came out 2 years ago. It's not that old,
Right.
I would say that if this was a movie, I'm trying to think. This could easily be somebody's masterwork. I think if you put it in a different director's hands,
Yeah.
it could be somebody's visual masterpiece.
Yeah.
And this guy it was his debut.
I see what you're saying.
Do you know what I
This
mean?
is a masterpiece that, because it was in the hands of a first-time director, was simply regarded as very good.
Yeah, right, exactly. And it's and a lot of people, just like anything, people are gonna have different opinions. I know a lot of people kind of like shit on anything that they don't, pick up on right away.
Yeah.
And if you take it as a horror movie, you're probably not gonna like it. If you take it as I don't know how to maybe if you take it as a period piece, it makes more sense. There's certainly a lot of grotesque in the movie. You know what I mean?
I don't think it is a straightforward horror
It's
film.
not a horror movie.
It's not well.
Much in the way
Suspense, I guess,
Yeah.
is a period suspense piece.
Yeah, you're right. It is a horror film. It's absolutely not straightforward.
Right.
It dances around it by playing as though it's going to be a religious paranoia film.
Sure.
Or
and it very easily could have been and still been just as good.
Yeah.
But like the story is it's Puritans. They're exiled from their colony, and they're forced to live out in the woods. And you find out the movie's called The Witch.
Yeah.
2 V's,
Two
ITCH.
V's, yeah, stylized as 2
That
V's.
beach.
You find out very early that there is in fact a witch or witches. You know what I mean? But that's not really essential to the story. That's why this.
Right.
That's what you like. You're if you watch the movie, I'm not spoiling anything. You're to find that out.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't matter because that's not where the story arc goes. The
Yeah.
story arc is about this family losing their mind, slowly going crazy,
Yeah.
thinking that they're cursed.
You know why? You know why? I think it's legit that you call it a period piece is because it wouldn't work in any age after that.
Yes.
It's entirely dependent on the character's scientific and logical ignorance. These are people who know how to plow and
Right.
clean up cow shit, and that's it.
Right, well,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, and that's the thing is it's a difficult movie to get through if you're not. I think that's why a lot of people now don't, you know what I mean, didn't get it because they looked at it as a horror movie, and it's written in the language of the time. So the whole film is written and acted in, you know,
it's like an antiquated but not old English,
right,
like a very early modern English.
Early modern English,
1600 era, you know what I mean?
You can tell when a period piece does that right, when the actors are able to convey what's going on, even if you don't pick up all the nuances of the language, all the words or whatever.
Yeah.
You can still tell because of how they're acting what inflection and mood is everything when you're doing period pieces. That's why there's good Shakespeare and bad Shakespeare.
Right.
Yeah. What I really like about this movie is that I think where a lot of horror movies are enjoyable because it's an experience on rails and you know where it's going, the pleasures of this movie are totally different. It does not telegraph to you what direction it is taking.
Right. And like I said, it could end one of many different ways.
Yeah.
And I think the ending that the path that they took that he wrote for the movie,
yeah, it ended up being an abject surprise to me.
it was one of my favorite movie endings.
It ended in a way that just
What a great ending.
just made me smile and shake
Yeah,
my head
what a
like,
great
like
ending.
you delightful son
That
of a
was
bitch.
You motherfucker.
It ended the way that it should have ended. And I remember
Right.
the first time I watched it with Trisha.
It didn't puss out about it.
Interesting note, it's from the A24 production company, which has just come about recently. And they did movies like The Lobster, which is one that I haven't watched yet that I want to watch.
I'm not sure if I'm going to watch that movie.
The Lobster, they did Swiss Army Man was another one.
Oh, yeah.
Was a movie about a guy who's starving out in the wilderness, and he finds
He's
a
on
dead
a desert
body.
island, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And he finds a dead body who washes up on this desert island. Yeah. And
They become best
kind of right, kind of like Wilson in Castaway. He starts talking to him and using him to survive. Basically, it's such a weird. It's real high concept.
That movie cannot decide what it wants to make you
Right.
feel.
Well, exactly, and that's the
just
thing.
from the trailers. I haven't seen it.
A24 also recently did The Disaster Artist, which is based on one of my favorite books ever. It's the story about the making of The Room, which is quote unquote the Citizen Kane of bad movies.
Yeah.
So A24 is one of those companies where it's either a huge hit or a huge miss, and
they're taking risks.
But they're taking risks.
They're taking fucking
risks.
risks.
Right. It's a very recent company, but they're taking risks, and a lot of those movies are pretentious drivel, and a lot of them are really good. And The Vitch is one of those.
I'll take the pretentious drivel if it means we get stuff like The Vitch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I want studios to take risks. I don't want more sequels. I don't want them to monetize my childhood with fucking remakes. I didn't want the Power Rangers movie.
No,
I didn't want that. No one wanted that.
Yeah.
No one fucking wanted that.
I
We
didn't
had a
see
Power
it.
Rangers movie. It had Ivan Ooze, and it was awesome.
with The Vitch, I was talking.
You're right.
No, camera placement,
Yeah.
lighting, filters, and lens work. I'm a big fan. The thing that I identify most with film, and my favorite aspect of it, is the visual medium, and The Vitch does this expertly. There's a lot of really great shots, and you can just watch the trailer and get what I'm talking about. It's done very well. It's filmed very well.
Yeah.
The camera placement in that movie was superb.
It's
That's what
perfect.
I remember the most about it. I can't remember a single shot of the father in that movie that wasn't from a low angle.
Yeah,
that made him
right.
look taller than he
Right.
was.
I think the camera is
He's always-
almost a character in that movie.
He's always either at the head of the table or the camera is looking up at him, and he's a tall dude to begin with.
It goes from these very still landscape shots where something else is happening in frame.
Yeah.
Just all the landscape shots. There's something else going on. There's movement, but it's this far back. So you're seeing the scope of the woods, and then the family shots are real personal. Anything with a person's face, where the family or a character is the subject is real tight.
Yeah.
That more than anything is have you ever been just driving down a road with Youngstown, the second you leave the city limits or leave the suburbs, it's just nothing but corn. It's nothing but country.
Yeah.
But have you ever been driving around in evening time or late at night, and it's just this big ass field, just completely devoid of crops, and then at the very edge of it is just woods, and you can't see past the first row of trees.
Yeah.
That always to me is just really
Scary.
just a little unnerving.
And that's what this movie does well, is it shows you this scope. They're in this grand. They're exiled. So they're in the middle of
That's
nowhere.
an important note, actually.
Yeah,
they're exiled, and the framing shows it.
Yeah, they're out in the middle of nowhere, and it shows you this wide landscape that they're in, and then when we're on the family, it's tight. So it's isolated. You're seeing these people close quarters together in this vast emptiness.
It's alternating between they are nothing in the world and they are everything to each other.
Right.
It really is. It does tell the story of like you have no one else left in the world supporting you, and when you're together, you're this very
little
tight,
thing.
small little bond.
Until you're not.
Until
Right,
you're not.
until you're not. And I'm thinking, I think perhaps my favorite shot of the movie comes in the last 3 minutes, and I guess it's 2 shots strung together. It's without spoiling anything. It's that far back shot of a single character walking. And then the final shot right before the credits hit. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's this real tight angle on a person's face, and I can't spoil it.
We can't talk.
I know exactly what I want to say about it, but I can't.
It's incredible. It's very well done.
Yeah,
and
you're
another
right.
movie that I want to talk about eventually coming up in a little bit is another one of those movies where most of my favorite films have visually arresting, and they have these scenes that are just impactful, and you could take a snapshot of it, and it looks like a work of art that you can hang on the wall.
Yeah. Again, Blade Runner.
Right, Blade Runner.
That last monologue with the rain.
Oh my god.
And everything.
Affectionately known as the Tears in the Rain speech.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. We kind of just hijacked your topic, man.
No, that's cool. I got one in.
Yeah.
Collateral also. I know I've shown you guys both Collateral, or you've seen it before. I can't remember. But
I haven't seen it.
It's a great movie, man.
The shots, the close-up shots of Jamie Cruz.
Close.
Good old Jamie Cruz.
What? The close-up shots of Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise in the taxi. And there's no illumination but the city lights. Again, like you said, you could take a still and it's just like a painting.
Right, yeah.
That's how you know you've got a movie that's brilliant from a cinematography standpoint.
Right.
You guys have probably seen it already, but there's a really great subreddit dedicated to just that, great shots. It's called Cine Shots.
Oh, I thought you were going to say accidental renaissance, because that's also a thing.
Oh, yeah, I have seen that. But Cine Shots is just single frames, moments in, a lot of films you'd recognize that just kind of drop you. Or sometimes there'll be short videos. And one of the ones that's so cool, since you're talking about cinematography work, one of the coolest things that I never noticed, I watched this movie like twice. I guess I just didn't realize what was happening. It was in Contact.
Oh, yeah.
There's a shot where she's running up the stairs.
Never seen Contact.
She's bounding down the hallway, right? And
her breasts are going all over the place. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The camera's facing her and moving backwards, and she's running down the hall. And then at the last minute, she reaches forward, and as she grabs the door handle, it opens, and you realize you've been looking in the mirror
the whole time.
Oh,
wow.
Except that it's not physically possible because you've been moving with her.
Yeah.
So it's actually a barely noticeable bit of CG where they put that shot into a green screen mirror.
That is brilliant.
It looks... I watched a tutorial. Someone showed how that was done.
That reminds me of that shot in Airplane where like the Major's getting dressed in the mirror and whatever, and then he like walks towards the mirror and steps through it. And it wasn't a mirror the entire time. You're just watching. He's just standing there.
Yeah, it's stuff like that is just baffling to me. Like great camera work, and in that case, to be hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed by that.
Two movies with real fucking deliberate camera work like that come readily to mind. Equilibrium, starring Christian Bale.
Not seen that.
It's the plot's kind of your basic like dystopian future. Emotions are suppressed. One of their best security agents forgets his emotion suppressing pill one day and discovers like music and art and
so it's like The Giver for sci-fi, or
kind of yeah. Imagine The Giver but with more karate and gunplay.
Okay.
But it has a lot of deliberate. It's very like it relies on monochrome a lot. There's a lot of like black and white play, and
when I look back on all the crap I learned in, I'm sorry, Paul. There's a Paul Simon song called Kodachrome.
Yeah, Kodachrome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about that one.
But then the other one is The Fountain. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys seen?
Not in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Just
For
noting,
me.
I'm writing down all the movies I haven't seen here.
The Fountain is a Hugh Jackman movie, which takes place across 3 different time periods.
A huge what?
So it starts in the present day, and Hugh Jackman is a doctor trying to save his wife, who is also a doctor because she has a terminal illness. Mm-hmm. There's a segment set in the past where Hugh Jackman is a conquistador trying to find the fountain of youth for his beloved queen.
Oh, wow.
And then a third of the movie is set in the future, where he's a traveler on board a bubble traveling through space with a tree that is implied to be his wife.
Are these stories all discrete, or do they connect to each other for the overall plot?
They're connected thematically, but they're discrete on their own.
Right.
Interesting.
It's just all about life and death. It's called The Fountain. And the reason I bring it up is because it does employ very deliberate cinematography. The sequences in the past all have very stark triangle imagery. In the present is all very square imagery, and the future is all very circular imagery.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's always a shot of Hugh Jackman's back as he goes into the distance someplace, and it employs that shape, the shape of whatever he's doing.
Nice.
In the shot, it's very, very deliberate and meticulous cinematography. It's a sappy-ish movie, but
it definitely is. Yeah.
But it's presented very well, and it's just, you don't have to take any great lesson from it, because it's a lesson I think everyone has to learn at some point in their lives. Mm-hmm. But it's a visual delight. It's just great to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many movies that do like the hard work of establishing like a complicated theme like that.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite movies that it does a really, really complicated job of telling its story is Synecdoche, New York. We've talked about it a couple of times.
I don't remember this. Synecdoche, New York?
Synecdoche, New York, which is one of those Andy Kaufman movies. Or Charlie Kaufman movies.
Or Andy
Ron
Kaufman.
Kaufman.
Ron Kaufman.
Synecdoche, S-Y-N.
Yes, like the alliterative or whatever the language device, like a synecdoche.
Yeah, a synecdoche. Yeah.
The idea of this movie...
I used to think that was pronounced synecdoche. I didn't know what that word was, but I did learn it eventually.
The concept of this movie is that a guy who is played by Philip Seymour Hoffman gets a MacArthur Genius Grant to do whatever he wants with it. And what he does is stage a play. But the play begins to get more and more complicated. And he's got this crazy...
And that play, Springtime for Hitler.
Yeah. Well, it ends up being a play about his life.
Yeah.
But the play's not big enough. He starts to realize he needs to expand this. And so it starts off on a stage. and then it occupies a warehouse with all these different stories going on simultaneously. Sure. And then it turns out he needs more warehouses. And the play is connected by underground tunnels to other warehouses that are also telling parts of the story. And then
this is sounding like a plot to an episode of Community that's centered around Abed.
Yeah, it's the intensity of the thing goes nuts. At some point, he hires someone to play himself, who is constantly following himself around, also taking notes. And that guy's got a secretary that is modeled after his secretary, and they're both going places in tandem. The movie ends up it's nuts. He replicates his own life in staging, and it all ends up being this very, very big and complicated storyline about the meaning of our lives and our work.
Wow,
and, it's such a like difficult to watch heady movie. And I remember when I watched it with Matt, Craig, and Bob Young.
Yeah.
We watched it when I was still living with my mom. We were like sitting in my bedroom in the basement, and the movie ended, and we didn't say anything. And it was like, I stood up, and they stood up, and I walked outside, and they walked outside with me, and I smoked a cigarette, and we just sat there in silence for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah.
See, I think we have been talking about. First of all, I think we've been talking about movies that kind of reflect what we look for in a movie.
Yeah.
I like a deeper message behind like a simple catharsis, a good guy, bad guy sort of thing.
Sure. Yeah.
I feel like you really enjoy man versus himself.
Yeah, I do. Actually, and the next movie I'm going to talk about.
And I feel like you like movies that have some kind of grand truth behind them, where it's not obvious when you first start watching, but you like movies that take you on a journey to their ultimate point.
I like a movie to chew on for a while.
Yeah.
I have one that I'm gonna. This is a movie that I know you love. It's a movie I love too, but it's a movie that I know you love in particular. And you once described it to me as a movie where Sofia Coppola broke your heart.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, I'm blanking on the name. Bill.
Yeah, it's called Lost in Translation.
Lost in Translation. Yeah.
Oh, I never got around to seeing that
Oh
one.
my
It's
God.
very,
It's very good.
It's good.
It seemed quirky.
It's
Well,
not.
yeah, it
It's
feels
not
like
a
a Wes
comedy.
Anderson movie.
It's not a comedy.
It feels like a Wes Anderson movie.
There's some comedic relief.
Sure.
Like the idea behind it, and it is a very hard, especially the last 15 minutes of this movie is very, very heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's a movie about, he's an actor, correct? I mean, he's like...
he's modeled a lot after sort of like the...
James Bondian...
He's like a big actor. What was Brando who had to do that whiskey commercial.
Oh, yeah.
Orwell. Orson Welles.
Orson Welles.
So not George Orwell,
Yeah.
the author of 1984, but Orson Welles did
pic-
the wine commercial.
That's
Yeah.
right.
French champagne.
I think that's modeled after that.
Yeah.
for its excellence.
He's a big actor forced to do a crappy commercial for some Japanese whiskey that he doesn't care about, and that's how it starts.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in Japan. Well, I like the idea is like you through the movie you kind of learn he's just been married to the same person for 20 years and there's nothing he's this big famous guy but he's just bored and
The extent of their relationship is phone calls in the evening to discuss what drapes are going in the new house,
Right.
and they're just
So
the
he,
love is dead.
So then he decides to take out a personal ad, and even though he's no poet, he thinks it's not half bad. And it says, if you like pina coladas and getting caught in Lorraine.
God. Dad. That's more than a dad. That's like a granddad.
Oh, man.
No,
Granddad!
I did not see that one coming.
was good.
He totally
That was
got
good.
me.
But no, well, and then he meets
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson.
That's right.
It's Scarlett Johansson's character.
Oh, I was
Who's there-
joking. Is it? I thought you said Sofia Coppola.
She directed it.
She directed it.
Oh,
Scarlett
And maybe
Johansson
wrote it? I can't remember.
she wrote it too. But he meets Scarlett Johansson's character, who's there with her newlywed, if I remember correctly. Her husband, who's a photographer.
And I can't remember if they're married or just dating. They might just be dating. I can't remember.
But they meet through somehow. They meet at the hotel bar.
They meet at the hotel bar.
And then they keep running into each other at the hotel bar. Basically, her husband's off doing his stuff, and they're newlywed because they're out there. That was their honeymoon, but he has to do work while they're out there.
shooting real life tentacle porn,
Right? Yes, as you do.
as you do in Japan.
But she's by herself most of the day and bored, and he's
More or less the same.
more or less the same. In between these,
Yeah.
shootings for the ads.
of my lady.
But it's these two characters meeting in a vacuum in this place
Yeah.
where they don't know the culture, they don't know
Yeah.
how to communicate with anybody, and they have this brief fleeting moment of connection, love.
Yeah.
I mean, not even necessarily love, but connection more
Right.
than anything. I guess you could argue love, but
I think the film refuses to answer that question, and I'm very happy it does.
exactly, it doesn't need to.
Let the film tell you in its own language, without certain terms, what they have together and it'll break your heart like it did mine.
This is a movie I've heard enough about to understand what's going on and what it's about, but I've never actually seen it myself.
Yeah.
I understand it really kind of solidified Bill Murray as an actor with real chops that could do more than just comedy and goofy one-liners.
Yeah.
But on that note though, we have been talking I think about like a lot of like movies that make you think. What about movies that you can just like
What about movies that make you hard, right?
Yeah.
Well,
What about movies that give you a real raging man boner? And not like a
Sure.
sex boner.
Sure, a
Like
man
a
boner.
violence boner.
like how about the one we watched on Sunday?
Yeah, we watched Die Hard on Sunday.
We watched Die Hard, the best Christmas movie of all time on Sunday.
Quite possibly the best action movie. That movie's you could make an argument for that as the best action movie.
I told you before we watched. Aubrey had never seen it. I asked her as we were pulling out of the driveway.
yeah, what did she think?
She said it was good.
Yeah.
She said there was a bit of overhype. Like everyone's like, oh, it's the best Christmas movie ever. It's like, and she's like,
we probably did overhype it.
yeah, sure. I mean, society as a whole kind of overhypes it, but she said, I get why it's significant as an action movie.
Yeah.
It's just she just didn't find anything like particularly unique
Yeah.
about it. Which is fair, but again, I think you pointed out very fairly that a lot of these gung ho action movies,
They're superheroes.
don't put the protagonist at enough of a disadvantage.
Sure. That's the reason Taken works. He has an advantage in the movie in that he's that character, but he's still a human being. And
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, he survives purely because of his cleverness and a bit of plot armor and action movie luck. Sure, but yeah, you're absolutely right. John McClane gets the shit beat out of him.
He gets his ass kicked.
It's in the title. He refuses to die.
Yeah.
He refuses to give up.
Yeah.
That's what's so great about John McClane. He is not special other than that he's a fit dude.
Yeah.
But what's awesome about it is like Die Hard is one of the examples I go to when I want to talk about the fact that movies don't have to make you think. Movies don't have to to instill any deeper wisdom in you. Sometimes a movie can be just as simple as the good guy beating the bad guy and getting the girl.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all it takes. We all need some catharsis. John Wick is perfect for that.
Oh my God, I
John-
can sing about John Wick all day.
John Wick. If you ever want to see a movie with just the good guy killing a fuckload of bad guys and looking awesome as hell when he's doing it, watch John Wick.
I'll say this. It's even dumb, and I love that about
It's a stupid fucking movie.
It's even dumb.
They kill his dog.
That's with Keanu Reeves' dog.
But the way they shoot it though, like you can see, you called it when we were watching it.
Yeah.
You said like it's like an anime.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely true. It was heavily inspired by anime tropes and there's a bunch of different things to show here's why this character is more powerful than this character.
Right.
There's a lot of very overt demonstrations of power in John Wick.
The only thing they don't do is stop and show the enemy's weak point for 2 seconds before the scene progresses.
Right.
It feels like anime video game sort of. It's got that cartoony influence,
right?
And again, it is in places dumb, and I love that about it. The fact that it's not a spoiler, they kill his dog, but it literally drags itself over to him, and he wakes up, and it's like dead, bloody bodies next to him.
Yeah,
it's
so sad.
Yeah, but it's like, that's stupid, and I love it.
It automatically puts you on Keanu's side.
Yeah, you're there. You're immediately.
That's the easiest way to get you to know that this guy is a good guy. He loves puppies, and they killed his puppy.
Yeah, the dog's last dying act.
They killed his dead wife's puppy.
The dog's last dying act is to legitimize John Wick.
Yeah. So... But we need movies like that.
Yeah, we do.
And John Wick is special because I have this fear. And I mentioned Power Rangers and how much I feel like there didn't need to be a Power Rangers remake.
Yeah.
The Transformers movies. I have a fear of action movies taking themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
Over the top action movie. If you got a movie where there's a gunfight and maybe a video rental place puts it under the action shelf. Mm-hmm. That's something different. Not Kingdom of Heaven, The Kingdom. Another Jamie Foxx movie where he's a modern day American agent sent to investigate the deaths of some troops in like Saudi Arabia, I think.
Okay.
It's billed as an action movie, but it's not. There's like one gunfight in the entire movie. I don't want action movies to take themselves too seriously. I love movies like John Wick because it lets you explore. It lets you explore the idea that violence itself can kind of be an art form.
Sure,
know?
Absolutely.
Look at any great martial arts movie that's come out in the past 15 years. Ip Man, Tom Yong-goong, The Protector.
Yeah.
Any great martial arts movie is great not because it teaches you some deeper meaning, but because, one, it's cathartic, and two, the art itself of combat is just like a beautiful thing,
Yeah.
It can be done well, it can be done poorly.
It's fluidity, it's choreography, it's all these sort of under the main hood of filmmaking, these separate disciplines. All those things have to come together to really express that beautifully.
Yeah, sure. Bruce Lee didn't become one of the best known actors of all time because his movies, teach you some truth about mortality or they weren't, art house things. It's an hour and a half of Bruce Lee kicking the shit out of people.
It's because Bruce Lee kicked a man so hard that he broke the arm of another man behind him. That's true. You can look that up. It was in Enter the Dragon. It was a scene where the director kept making him film, and the stunt...
Is it where he's fighting O'Hara?
It might be. I'm trying to remember. It's the big circle... all the guys in white.
They're outdoors.
Yes.
Yeah, he's fighting O'Hara, and they touch hands, and then just immediately...
He kicks him... This is true. Bruce Lee kicked... Because the double wasn't doing what he wanted him to do, he actually laid a real kick on him, and he couldn't fake falling down correctly, I think is what it was. So Bruce Lee laid a real kick on him and kicked him so hard that the people behind him who were supposed to catch him, one guy broke his arm. He laid into him. But yeah, man. Oh,
yeah,
that's some impressive shit, man. Bruce Lee was like superhuman, man.
But that's kind of my point is like you need movies like that. You need movies that every once in a while, yes, it's good to have movies that challenge you, that force you to expand the way you think about things, and to kind of, even movies that make you uncomfortable. There should be movies that make you uncomfortable. Sure. Yeah. There should be movies that challenge what you think you know and what you think you're tolerant of. But every once in a while, sometimes you just need a movie where the good guy spends 2 hours kicking ass and wins.
There's a movie that came out recently that's one of those that Ben, I think you'd really like it. It's called Kingsman.
I've been wanting to see it for so long.
Yeah, it's a good one. They just made a sequel actually, which I haven't seen yet. But,
they said it was still good, but wasn't as good as the first one.
Sure, no, that's the way that those usually go. But yeah, Kingsman, really good.
That's the one about Humpty Dumpty, right?
Yes.
Where all the king's horses and then the Kingsmen show up. I got that right?
Yes. But then, like on the other end of it, like comedies.
Yeah.
Comedies don't necessarily have to make you think. They just gotta. I think if a movie knows from the very beginning what it wants to do, it succeeds.
But, in a big way, yes.
But if it strays from that, and unfortunately sometimes that's because of executive meddling and shit like that.
You can see a direct. So over the course of the last, say, 40 years, there's been a very specific direction of film being taken away from, real auteurs and creators and being handed over to the suits.
Sure.
It's why you have a lot of... It's why you have films that are afraid to be to anything. Films that are bland, or films that, things that might work in a focus group, but ultimately leave you unfulfilled.
big, long, epic war movies are things that aren't really done anymore. I'm talking about things like Braveheart. I'm talking about things like specifically The Last Samurai.
I was just gonna say that's a good.
It's been out for like 14 years. I don't feel bad about spoiling the ending. The samurai lead a charge against the mighty equipped Imperial cavalry
and
lose badly.
Yeah,
they get mowed down by a fucking Gatling gun,
yeah.
and you know. But Tom Cruise's character, who is a disaffected soldier, drinks to excess to forget, you know, all the horrible things he's done. Yeah. Finds solace and peace in the samurai lifestyle and lives, and goes on to tell the emperor about the deeds of Katsumoto. But that
was a great movie, man.
The problem
that's a really good.
The
movie.
problem with it, though, it should have ended with Cruise's character dying.
Yes,
it was building up to that. The idea that death isn't something to fear, and that being a soldier, being a warrior, can be an honorable thing.
That's the one thing
that's infuriating.
Yeah,
it's absolutely maddening. It's a great movie otherwise. If it had just ended with Colonel Algren dying.
Yeah, but what undeniably happened was someone in
a focus group.
Yeah.
Someone in a focus group went, I don't like seeing Tom Cruise die.
I don't want him to die. So,
So,
all right, I'm going to submit this for the group in that vein.
You're absolutely right, by the way.
You all know the movie Dodgeball that came out like, probably 15 years ago?
Yes!
So
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So the original, the movie Dodgeball ends with, of course, Average Joe's Gym, the underdogs winning, beating Ben Stiller's character.
By decision from Chuck Norris.
By decision from Chuck Norris, right.
Okay.
They come out on top, they win, the underdog wins, it's a good, wholesome story. Yeah. The original ending to that movie...
opposite.
The original ending of the movie is in the actual movie, but they had to film more because somebody in a focus group probably fucked it up. The original ending of the movie is Ben Stiller's character hitting Vince Vaughn's character and eliminating him and winning, and it's them celebrating, cut to credits. That's the original ending of the movie, which is fucking hilarious.
Of course. It would have just been a 2-hour troll leading up to an ending where the bad guys
and
win.
It would have been, I mean, like, I would have stood up and clapped. And the movie already is really funny.
Yeah.
You know, incidentally. And it still works with the ending it did. But the original ending, if you watch, like, I have the DVD from years ago. And the original ending was supposed to be them just, like, the message is, the world's not fair.
And sometimes good guys lose.
Right. Sometimes, right, exactly.
The ultimate sin in this vein was I Am Legend.
Yeah.
The Will Smith movie.
Also haven't seen that movie.
I Am Legend.
A movie that could have been very... What is good is good.
Yeah, the story it's based on is good. They didn't go with the original ending of the story. I'm gonna spoil it for you. It's been out for 10 years.
I'll just cover my ears for a second. Please, continue.
It ends with Will Smith taking a grenade and you know, suicide bombing these monsters. What the actual ending should have been is that he realizes that
they're people.
They want his captive back.
Right.
And he realizes he is the monster of their legends.
Right.
He is their boogeyman.
Right.
And it's a deeper truth about humanity and the way we appear to other people.
Right. You're good. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, I've seen they actually filmed that alternate cut, by the way.
They did, and I've seen it and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You are gonna hate the ending. You're gonna hate it.
You're gonna hate
so
it.
fucking
You're
much.
gonna hate it because it's so American.
You're gonna hate you're gonna
okay.
hate it because it's American as hell. You are going to know exactly what the ending should have been.
Yeah.
And then be pissed off when it doesn't happen.
Right.
Well, I gather it's going to have a very saccharine, happy ending that it doesn't deserve, but I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
You'll see. You'll see.
You'll see. It's yeah. But
in the vein of dumb movies, can we talk about movies that are like bad?
Sideways. Let's
just talk about downright bad movies.
What was that one we watched with Jesse Ventura. No, Goldberg. Bill
Oh
Goldberg.
yes.
It was
What
like
was it called?
Strike Point Alpha or something like that.
It wasn't Checkpoint, was it?
It was Checkpoint.
Checkpoint.
I'm thinking of the one where it's like a military prison and the special forces guys break out and they...
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Checkpoint it was called.
Checkpoint.
2 words.
It was, I would say, in fairness, it was a bad movie.
Describe
loved.
that movie while I take a piss.
Christ, let me try. I'm not sure that I super... Okay, so what I remember about this movie is that it takes place in a small town that is outside of Washington, D.C., but is connected, we find out later, by a tunnel to the White House. And that all these...
I'm already out, by the way.
Well, you're going to be back in because, again, Bill Goldberg,
Sure.
who was super fun to watch.
I'm gonna. You know what? If he doesn't give somebody the jackhammer by the end of this movie, I'm out.
Well, he fights a guy, I think. I'm not totally sure.
There's a big macho...
Oh, on a bridge. Yeah, like a big thing on a
hold
bridge.
somebody over his head in suplex fashion and then jackhammer him into a pinfall?
I don't think so.
Okay, then I don't care. I'm out.
Here's the
At
thing.
least in the Fast and the Furious movies, The Rock bottoms somebody. So,
Well,
I can't remember the fight scene, but he might have.
the thing about this movie is that Bill Goldberg, who is just kind of a man about town with problems with his family, I think, or whatever, and something bad happens to his daughter.
just a giant, bald, Jewish, ripped man about town.
Yeah, exactly. He's like somehow just blends in this weird town, and there's like all these dudes start moving in. They're like former soldiers who are bad now, like bad soldier men.
Well, remember, it's not even Bill Goldberg, it's the homeless guy. It's the homeless ex-Marine.
Oh yeah, because he's the real star of the movie.
Yeah,
if you can say star.
He's the poor man's Paul Walker.
Yeah,
He's just some big buff blonde guy.
He's just like everyone else in town. He just eats dumplings seemingly every day from the same
The
Chinese
fucking
restaurant
dumplings.
that everyone eats dumplings at. Where like the woman, the poor Asian woman who runs the restaurant, her husband is always like insulting her and like being racist at her, I think.
Yeah, you give me any of that ching chong shit.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck,
But it's
man?
okay because it's a black guy saying it.
Yeah, it makes it super palatable.
Right.
And then like all these
You gotta see this movie to believe it.
Oh
It's
my
so
God.
fucked.
the bad military men come in and they're gonna use the tunnel to, I don't know, kill the president or whatever.
Yeah, they want to make
remember.
America strong.
They got the bad science.
Yeah, they got the bad sides. And they're looking for the briefcase and they can't find it.
When do you boys toss me a beer?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
But basically, yeah, it was basically like Shitty The Rock, wasn't it? Oh no, that was the other movie.
It was that was Strike Point Alpha or whatever it was called.
Yeah, that was just The Rock, but shitty.
Black Site Alpha was what it was called, or was it Black Site Omega? I don't know. It's
They're
bullshit.
Terrible. But the thing is, enough about the movie itself. It was a real treat to watch. Yeah. I love a good bad movie.
Absolutely,
me too.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we talk about The Disaster Artist. I think The Room stands alone. It is the maybe best bad movie.
Yeah.
If for no other reason than legitimately nothing comprehensible happens ever.
It can't even be attributed to like just novice filmmaking or novice writing. It's bad in ways that are mind-boggling.
Sure.
It's bad in ways that are inhuman.
No, I will say this.
It's bad in ways that you can't put yourself into the thought process of like,
how he,
why would
maybe
someone do that?
Maybe it sounded good at the time, or maybe they thought this shot was framed right and thought it would look good next to these other shots. It's mind-boggling.
It's a failure on every level.
Well, the test results came back. I definitely have breast cancer.
Don't worry about it, Mom. Don't worry about it, Mom.
Yeah, no. I will say this about The Room. It may be the worst movie ever made, but The Disaster Artist is one of the best books I've ever read.
Incredible.
Very good book.
Yeah.
Very good book.
Yeah.
I recommend it. Watch the movie and then read the book.
Yeah, that's really it. Watch The Room. Read The Disaster Artist,
and then
watch The Disaster Artist. Because I haven't seen it yet either, but I know this is the right order to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
See, now I feel like because the original question was favorite movies.
Yeah, sure.
And I feel like it's almost unfair for us to say like, Collateral or 2001 when we've also got we've watched some of the best comedies ever made.
Sure. We've watched The Big Lebowski.
The Big
20
Lebowski.
times.
I was just going to say The Big Lebowski
20 times. I'm in the hundreds. I've seen that movie over 100 times.
Outside of being hysterical,
yeah,
it's just well written and well characterized.
It's Coen Brothers. It's typical Coen Brothers fashion.
It's just a genius. I think the the best movies are probably the ones that can most accurately reach the audience with a portrayal of what it's like to be a human being.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you're not reaching the audience with, human moments,
Yeah.
or if you're not reaching the audience with human experiences, then it doesn't work.
What are you doing?
The screen is the empathy box.
Sure.
The screen is, and actually, I think this is really worth thinking about. I know, obviously, that this exists in the form of literature and all that, but maybe at no other point in human history have we been able to so completely influence someone's, empathetic reaction to subject material as we have with television and movies.
Sure.
I doubt it. I very highly doubt it.
It's a huge step in human thought.
The closest anyone ever got before was theater.
Theater, right?
Yeah,
And that,
it's still a distant medium.
but I mean, there's certainly something to be said, of course, for seeing live people do these things versus music or literature or poetry.
Well, and then while we're in that vein, there's also something to be said about not doing it all on a computer. There's something to be said about live, again, like we said before, we're Red Letter Media fans. The Plinkett reviews do a great job of
The best job
of deconstructing the Star Wars prequels, and I don't even you could just go watch. Give Red Letter Media your money; they're really great.
Yep, go watch them.
The biggest problems with those movies was that they were done on computers. I'm going to quote Mike Stocklasa here: "The human eye is really good at detecting fakeness.
Yeah,
we can tell when
absolutely
something's
is.
not real,
Yeah.
and you have to do it. You have the movie.
What he always says is, "You might not have noticed that, but your brain did."
Right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you're gonna use visual effects to create something like an emotion or a mood or a theme, you need to make sure that the rest of the movie brings it so that we can suspend our disbelief.
Sure.
Yeah. You have a great anecdote, which I wonder if you would like to tell about Sir Ian McKellen on the set of
This poor bastard.
Was it the first or second Hobbit
The
movie?
first Hobbit movie. He has a scene where the entire scene is CGI. It's Gandalf confronting the presence of Sauron.
Yeah.
And at some point during this, because again, Ian McKellen is the only real thing in this scene. It's him in his robes in a field of blue.
Yeah.
And during one of the takes, he just stopped dead in the middle of it, sat down and started crying and said, "This isn't why I became an actor."
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the fucking saddest thing ever. But it reminds me, though, that he was also in another CG fest recently.
Oh, really?
The live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast.
I had no interest in seeing this, and to be quite honest, I still don't.
Well, let me tell you this. I watched it with Aubrey.
Mm-hmm.
It is everything you would expect a Disney movie to be.
Yeah.
Which is both good and bad.
Sure.
It's
Right, which is exactly what I would expect.
It's not to say they don't
yeah.
do certain things very well.
Right.
Oh,
Disney does things.
Every actor in this live action production is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone fucking kills their role. It's so good. I bring up Ian McKellen because he is the voice, and eventually, when they get turned back, spoiler alert, everyone in Beauty and the Beast gets turned back.
Oh shit! Really?
Is Ian McKellen?
Who
Everyone is Ian McKellen.
He's. I'm sorry.
I love that idea, though. I love that idea. Like Cogsworth is Ian McKellen,
Being
and
Ian
Lumiere is Ian
McKellen.
McKellen.
He's Cogsworth.
He's Mrs.
Oh, he's
Potts.
Cogsworth.
He's the clock. He's Cogsworth.
That's a good choice.
It is. It is. Yeah, he's Cogsworth. I'm sorry. I should have specified that. I'm losing track of my train of thought here.
That's all right.
But no, everyone does a fantastic job in that movie. It's just, almost everything is CGI.
Yeah.
It does a decent job of blurring the line as far as set design goes.
Yeah.
It does a pretty decent job of being like, okay, well, where does the real structure end and where does the CGI begin? And beyond that, the songs and the acting,
Disney.
the acting especially is just so enjoyable. The guy who plays Gaston is fucking hilarious. He's perfect.
Yeah. But can he eat a dozen eggs? Or whatever the hell he's supposed to do?
Yeah, I ate a dozen...
Six dozen eggs. Was
Six
it?
dozen eggs.
When I was a lad, I ate 5 dozen eggs, or something like that.
Every morning to help me be strong. Yeah.
There's a fan theory that he prevented a chicken apocalypse in France by eating all those eggs, but I'll look that up later. But anyway, and that's why everyone loves him so much, because he saved France.
Yeah.
But it kind of goes back to what I was saying before about like how sometimes you just need kind of a simple catharsis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a visual spectacle, and yes, it's CG, and yes, it's fakey looking.
Yeah.
I challenge you to do something like Beauty and the Beast, you know, and not have some effects.
Well, think about something like 300, which is a movie that you couldn't tell without CG. Like you could tell that story without CG, but it wouldn't be as interesting, and it wouldn't have done as well as it did.
It also gets a pass because it's being told by someone who's trying to being told secondhand. He's trying to rally the troops and embellishing the story. You know?
Really, and the only reason any woman went to see that is because of Gerard Butler's abs. I'm quoting my girlfriend here. Butler's 2 hours of Gerard Butler's abs, and I'm with her.
But that's why
he looks good in that movie.
That's why all the incongruities, like Xerxes is 9 feet
tall, right?
And
exactly. War elephants and
war elephants and dudes with swords for arms.
The same argument has been made about The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Oh, because it's Bilbo.
It's Bilbo's
telling
retelling.
story.
It's there and back again. It's his story, and so actually,
that's true.
Some people have used that as a little bit of a "I can sleep at night" mechanism to why some of the telling of the Hobbit, the elements of the Hobbit, are so different from the Lord of the Rings movies, which were very, very grounded.
Yeah.
I mean, for a fantasy world.
Yeah,
at least things
grounded.
like the physics make sense. And
for a fantasy world that knew how to use CG well.
Sure.
Yeah.
This was one of the things that me, along with millions of others, were super stoked about The Force Awakens, was the fact that there was so much real world shots.
Yeah.
So many
composite. I mean, it was
when they only used composite when they absolutely had to.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I will say about that movie, aside from the fact that I absolutely loved it, there's a particular scene that does all the work for me in establishing that Star Wars is back, and it's that lightsaber fight between Kylo and Ren out in the middle of the woods.
Kylo and Rey.
Kylo Ren and
Kylo Ren and Rey. Yeah,
because they swing the lightsabers like two people would swing, like normal people would swing lightsabers.
It's not ballet.
It's not
They're
ballet.
not jumping and flipping in the air.
No,
it's a brutal, very, very physical, very close fight.
Yeah.
The lightsaber fight is a display of raw emotion.
Right.
It's when the characters can let that come out.
Yeah. And again, I'm going to quote Plinkett here. It's not about moments like this where people flipping around. It's about moments like this.
Yeah, very close.
Obi-Wan surrendering to Darth Vader.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's and I would encourage anybody to watch the duel from The Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader and Luke, because it's when you take it together, you can watch the whole thing. They're in parts in the movie, but you can watch it together.
Yeah,
I'm sure
cut
there's
together.
YouTube. Yeah,
it's cut together.
I'm sure.
But you watch it go from this moment of this kid who's going up against this guy who he's just outclassed, right?
Yeah.
They're out at the beginning of the fight. Darth Vader's fighting him with one hand. He's literally just toying with him through the whole thing.
There's a very obvious play between light and shadow in those scenes, all of those scenes.
And then you see it go from like him definitely being outclassed, but holding his own, and then managing to impress him to
then just getting his ass kicked.
I'm thinking of that. The best shot of that movie for me is when Luke's creeping around, and then Vader comes out of nowhere and swings at him, and then he's immediately backing up.
Yeah, and it's scary because you don't hear his breath, and then as soon as he swings, it's like
and he's backing up for the rest of that shot. It's just him.
Yeah, Vader is just like swinging for the fences. He's hitting the rails and just.
Well, and there's one he catches Vader in the shoulder, and they're not fucking graceful. This isn't choreographed. They're just swinging. You know what I mean? And it's a great display of fight choreography and emotion.
It tells you a lot about. I think filmmakers have gotten the wrong ideas about why we like their work for a long time.
There's got to be a purpose behind the things you do, and if the purpose is pandering, or if the purpose is making money, people can see that in an instant.
Immediately, right. And some people are okay with that, to be fair.
Sure.
You know, like, someone like me is not okay with that. And I can snuff out bullshit and I don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, and
Right.
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, I know we're getting late.
I was wondering what time we're...
This is going to be a long topic. This is going to be a long topic.
We're at 2:03.
Yeah, so this is going to be a long topic.
Yeah.
It's just it naturally lends
Yeah,
itself to
we can keep this bad boy
Yeah,
going
I
if
mean,
you want.
why not? I know a lot of the guys that work with they have a love-hate relationship with the long. They're like, it's long, but I have all this time to kill,
Yeah.
so, you know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, allow us to kill your day.
Yeah,
That's
please.
the three dudes' promise.
That's right.
Wanted to get something done? I don't think so.
I wanted to backtrack a little bit because you were talking about Disney, and I feel like I want to talk about the best thing I think that Disney ever did.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
No.
Oh,
as far as art goes, something that could stand on its own as art 100 years from now. And the movie Up. I want to, you know.
Up. I thought you were gonna say Fantasia.
No. Well, yeah, no. I
grew up on Fantasia.
Fantasia's
Man.
incredible.
too.
I had that on VHS,
Incredible.
and I watched
All
it so
those
many
old
times.
Snow White. I mean, like, you know, Cinderella. All the old Disney movies are incredible. The
classics.
Yeah, right.
Those are
classics.
true labors of love. That's when you had to like painstakingly rotoscope every single goddamn frame of the same fucking girl.
Well, not
twirling
they,
around.
but some very, very poor people. So.
Sure.
But I want to talk about Up, and in particular, I want to talk about. There's a couple. If you've never seen anybody listening, if you've never seen the movie Up, I would recommend it. You can watch the first 7 minutes of Up, and it stands alone as a piece of art in itself.
It's a short film as a preamble to a full movie.
And I mean, I've watched a lot of movies, and I'm a pretty emotional guy, and I've never cried harder in a movie. I mean, there's so many. I'm like, I can't even. Like, I can't even talk about.
Why the hell are we always getting misty on this goddamn show? Where's the meat? Hold on. I'm gonna go. You brought Slim Jims into this house.
Oh, there's Slim Jims.
Oh yeah,
Bring me a Slim Jim, please.
Bring in some goddamn meat.
This is what pisses me off when people say like computer animated movies aren't as good as like.
No, that's horseshit.
You try designing a character who is a series of squares and then get me to feel for him
Right.
as though he is my own flesh and blood.
Right.
You try fucking doing
Well,
that.
and I have no, like, let me be clear. I said, you know, I have a problem with
fucking meat for Christ's sakes.
I have a problem with composite. I don't have a problem with, you know, with animated features. There's a lot of great animated features.
Sure, but there is a distinction in with animation enthusiasts between computer animation and traditional animation. And,
Nah, that's bullshit.
yeah, absolutely.
But the Up, I mean, I think you could take the first 7 minutes of that movie as a standalone art piece.
Yeah.
And it works.
It does.
And it's a movie. I've like I said, I'm gonna get teary eyed talking about this because it's just one of those movies that
Eat that meat.
I have to. Yeah. It's one of those movies that it's a movie that kids will understand.
Yeah.
But it's that first piece is there for the adults. You don't understand it until you're older.
Yeah.
And you know what loss means. And if you've never seen the movie, I would recommend it. I'm gonna I'll give you the basics. And
Up is fantastic.
They tell basically it's these two kids meeting when they're young, and you know becoming it's two kids.
Don't tell them too much.
I don't want to tell them too much. It's two kids becoming friends, and then after it's established that they're friends, it goes silent basically, and it's just visual and the music. And it's the whole story of their life. It's them it's them falling in love. It's them getting married. It's you know heartbreak. It's loss.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's death. And then it's eventually just the character, and then the movie takes off from there. Yeah. That opening sequence, you know, if you've ever loved somebody in your life and then lost them, you know, whether
Or
it's
love anybody enough to know that you're gonna hurt so bad when you do.
exactly. It just it just hits you so hard. I mean, it's just such a beautiful piece of filmmaking. It's so well communicated, and it's all done visually.
Yeah.
And then it's not just even that first part. I'm thinking of like there's a scene in the movie when he you know everything's blowing up around him. He's by himself. He's alone. You know, there's the kid. He kicks the kid out of the house.
Right.
And he sits down in the chair and he starts flipping through the picture book. And I'm sorry, this is getting
Shut the fuck up and eat that Slim Jim, you
I have
pussy.
to. I have to. I'm sorry. You got it. You got it.
This is seriously what's happening here?
I'm
Turning to
trying.
little babies.
Well, it's that scene where he's flipping through the picture book.
I know.
And it's the whole story of their life.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not going to spoil anything else, but it's just there's so many moments in that movie that just hit you in the heart.
I know.
And it's like I said, I can't. I watched it once.
Yeah, you can't talk about this without feeling
I know.
something.
I watched
It's
it.
so deep.
It's so well done. I watched it one time with my best friend, and we cried. I mean, just cried.
Yeah.
Eating chicken wings. We were trying to be like, oh, great Disney movie. Let's watch it. We were bawling. We were sitting in my room bawling.
Yeah.
And then Trisha had never seen it, and I'm like, oh, I promised myself after the first time, I'm like, I am never watching this movie again.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know,
How did that work
years-
out for you, buddy?
Yeah, right. Yeah, years later, she never saw it. I'm like, oh, we have to watch it. You're gonna love it. And I remember when I put it in, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this is horrendously sad.
Yeah.
And it was just like all over again. It's the way
Yeah.
that they do it is so, it's just brilliant. You know, it's just brilliant.
I will tell you, I once attended an Up-themed wedding.
Did you?
And it was so goddamn sweet.
Yeah.
Because of the context provided by the... I mean, I think she walked the aisle to that theme. The do-do-do-do-do,
Yeah.
do-do, you know, the theme from the movie? I'm pretty sure she walked the aisle to that. And I was standing there going, ah, man.
Yeah.
Ah, jeez. I got something in my eye.
Yeah. I mean, it's just. I would encourage anybody, just watch the first 7 minutes of that movie, and you get everything you need to know is right there.
Yeah.
As much as Disney is, as much as they're good at basically everything, they're especially good at the visual language of like an animated story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they do even more than they do with live actors when they have, like Toy Story.
Free
or,
reign. Yeah.
something where they have absolute control over everything and can tell that story perfectly in the editing chamber right there on the computer. They can tell it perfectly.
The ending of Toy Story 3, where he's going through the. Do you guys ever see Toy Story 3?
I don't think I did.
So I mean, I'm gonna spoil it for you because I think it deserves. It's not really like a huge spoiler.
Does Andy just grow up basically?
And he's growing up. He's going to college. And at the end of the movie, there's the little neighbor girl next door, and he brings his box of toys over to her. And he's going through. I'm sorry. This is like we're getting real serious into Disney here. So this is going to be a little weepy. I'm sorry, everybody listening.
Oh, dude, I keep seeing your face do that thing. Stop! Cover your face.
He's going through all the toys to this girl, and he's like, this is Rex, this is Mr. Potato. He's going through all, and it's particularly heavy if you grew up with Toy Story like we did.
Yeah.
I was 4 when the first Toy Story.
It's one of the
came
first
out,
films I saw in theaters. Honestly, first 3 films.
Yeah,
maybe.
right. And it's particularly meaningful because now, when that movie came out, everybody was college age, so we get it. And he gets to Woody, and he stops, and she goes to grab it out of his hand, and he pulls it back. I'm sorry. Oh
my God.
I know, right? It's just like it's one of Disney's really good at communicating that kind of without saying anything. It's that you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That they can do that in an animated medium and make you feel something. It's really impressive.
The other thing, if you stop and think about it that way, like you just said, the fact that as it was coming out, you aged with Andy,
Right.
and they made it for you in that way.
Right.
And what a very sweet thing that was to do, to make a series of movies that aged with its audience.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really special thing.
It's really smart.
And it only will probably have exactly the same effect that it had for those those kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll always be a good series of movies, but the fact that it was part of your life when you were young and aged with you
for a while,
that's really sweet.
Oh, that's a spicy Slim Jim.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Ooh, I needed that meat snack to bring me back to manhood.
Okay. So that I think is what makes a good movie is when it sets out knowing exactly what it wants to do and what it wants to be and does that thing.
Yeah. Vision. It's called vision.
Yeah, it's called that for a reason. It's not just an abstract concept that people throw out when they want to sound pretentious.
Yeah.
It really is when a movie is produced and it is the thing that its creators have always wanted it to be.
Yeah.
it really, really shows.
Yeah.
That's what separates the good from the bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the bad from the ugly.
I do think that a lot of this boils down to, creators have vision. Creators can see a thing from concept to reality.
Yeah.
And that gets diluted when too many hands come into the kitchen and start trying to,
Right.
we gotta appease this demographic, and we gotta, people won't really like this because we asked a group of, chuckleheads from Philly.
Sheboygan.
Yeah, right. And they didn't like it. When you start to meddle with real, genuine artistic vision,
Yeah.
you get farther from the idealized version of a thing and not closer.
Yeah.
Almost exclusively.
Yeah.
Which is not to say that the suits haven't saved some shit, but
It does make you a hell of a lot of money.
yeah,
I'll
right.
tell you that.
Well, I feel like we've kind of exhausted
I think we got it,
the film part, but before we take a break here, I have a little would you rather for you boys.
All right.
Which I'm going to be doing every episode I host from here on out.
I'm
I
so
plumb
ready.
forgot about this.
This one just made me laugh writing it down. So, would you rather of these two options? Would you rather?
Yes.
Well, there you go. We're done. Would you rather be able to sleep with anyone that you wanted? Everyone is magnetized to you. They all want to be with you, but every time you have sex, Urkel watches and he comments on it the whole time. Right?
Okay.
Or you can materialize anything you want, anything you imagine, any object, money, property, whatever. You can just materialize it in front of you. But every time you do, you get a knock on the door, and Louie Anderson walks into your house, and he lays an egg out of his asshole right into your mouth. You don't have to keep the egg. You could, throw it away or whatever, but he's going to knock on your door. You have to let him in.
I like that he has to knock every time.
Oh, yeah. He knocks, and you go, oh, shit, who is... Oh, God, it's
me.
Louie Anderson walks into your house, lays an egg right in your
So
mouth.
I imagine, I have to... I'm just reserved at this point. I have to lay down.
You have to lay down.
Watch him spread his ass cheeks.
Yeah,
and
he
shit
lowers
an
his
egg into
pants,
my mouth.
he hovers over you, and you watch it do that whoop thing of his asshole opens.
Expanding and the drop
and
of
an
the
egg falls right in your mouth.
I'm just going to say it right now. I'm going with Louie Anderson and the egg.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Really? What?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, because I can materialize anything. That should be able to get me laid easily.
Right.
That's a really good point. But the thing is, if you're on a date and she's like, oh man, could you do this for me? You can do it, but then she has to watch Louie Anderson.
No, we could go in the bathroom, couldn't we?
Right. I was just going to say.
For the sake of this example, it happens wherever you are.
I'll just step into the men's room real quick, then I materialize something, then Louie Anderson knocks on my stall door.
For the sake of this example, it happens wherever you are. You can't I'll just be right back. It's got to happen right where you are.
What if I do it in the bathroom where she won't go?
True. So, yeah, you could do that. So she could be like, oh, can you, I just need a couple $1,000, and you go, sure, I'll be right back. You go in the bathroom, you pop, poof, and then Louie Anderson comes in.
Yeah.
And he squats over you. He lays the egg in your mouth.
Yeah,
You
but-
spit it into the toilet. He leaves. You show up with the whatever she needed.
And then she says, you won't believe this. Louie Anderson just walked through those doors.
Oh, I believe it. honey.
Oh, I sure do.
See that Maserati outside? I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys are going with Louie Anderson.
I'm gonna
Really, not the sexually magnetic sort of.
Will the egg be covered in his colonic remnants?
Yeah, I was gonna say
It won't be
that.
covered in shit, but it'll be covered in remnants.
I'm still going
It'll
with
be
Louie
slimy.
Anderson. I'm still going with Louie
How
Anderson.
big is the egg?
It's twice as big as a regular egg. It's in my head. It's like this big around. It's
Yeah, I
like
was
that
gonna
just
say,
fits
yeah.
right into your fully open mouth, like that.
like a pygmy ostrich.
Yeah, that's what.
I'm there.
Would you like to ask any more questions about Urkel, by the way? Because you haven't asked anything
So
about
yeah, all
Urkel.
right, well, let's go with Urkel.
Will he be encouraging or will he be disparaging?
No, he's gonna be whatever you're doing. He's gonna offer an accurate reflection. So, like, if you're doing real good, he's gonna be like, yeah, that's where I like that. But then if you like fuck up or whatever, or like,
Sex
like,
is...
Did you do that?
yeah. By the way, good point. Every time you orgasm, Urkel will say, "Did you do that?"
Yeah, no. Sex is no good if I can't keep a boner. So,
Oh, I should have mentioned. You have like a magical boner; it never goes away,
oh, okay.
unless you want it to.
Still doesn't change it. I want Louie Anderson.
Right?
Yeah.
Go with Louie Anderson.
I want Louie Anderson.
and that giant, huge ostrich egg.
Yeah, just right into my mouth.
It's. I mentioned it's slimy, right?
Yeah, you've
Okay.
The problem is, if I have a boner that won't go away while I'm listening to Steve Urkel, I'm going to eventually develop a Steve Urkel fetish, and that's not going to be good for anyone.
It's true. You're gonna make a. That's the thing is, if he ever wasn't there, then you would never be able to perform.
Right? Yeah.
You'd form a connection.
Fucking Urkel is a prime component.
He's
I
a manifestation.
it's
cannot
like
achieve
manifestation,
orgasm
right.
without
it's
Steve
like,
Urkel.
It's like Pavlov's 1990s sitcom.
Right. He's the manifestation of your erection. He's actually. It's dependent on him.
Yeah. Well,
Well, okay. I guess we've gone with. Louie Anderson. Shit in the egg.
Nice.
Easy peasy. Not even a hard choice at all. We are going to take a break, and we're going to come back with recommendations and what we learned.
yes, sir.
Stick around.
Honky donkey.
Walkie-talkie.
Honky donkey.
Honky
You hand me
donkey.
some of them chips.
Oh my god.
Man, we just got real hungry here.
I know. I am really hungry.
I think it started with the meat sticks,
Yeah.
and now it's spiraling.
Oh, that sounds real good in the microphone.
Oh man, I got like Slim Jim caught my teeth. Anyway,
I'm just chewing on these Doritos.
yeah, you just chew a little louder, would you?
Sorry.
If it was a little bit louder, would you mind?
You guys at home, you don't like food sounds?
Nor finger sucking sounds.
Oh my god, guys, I'm so sorry if you don't like chewing. Oh,
And now, on our longest episode in a long time, anyone who is still listening isn't.
oh god, alright.
Damn, I am gonna want to eat something in a minute here.
No.
Right?
So anyway, it is time for us to talk about recommendations.
Yeah.
Oh my god, those are so good.
I don't know if you guys have something lined up, but I might need a minute to think about this one, so I defer to you. Do you have a hard recommendation?
I have two, actually, and I'm going to let you pick which one you want to hear.
Oh boy, here we go.
Back to the album.
Keep spinning.
Do you want to hear
Yeah.
a post-hardcore album, the one that I didn't recommend last week, in favor of another post-hardcore album?
Right.
Or, going along with what we talked about a couple episodes ago, do you want to hear a 1970s singer-songwriter album?
I'm down for the second one, the 70s singer-songwriter.
I think so too.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, Ben, we're regularly on the same page about this.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just getting more Doritos.
Yeah, It's can you put as many Doritos as you can fit in your mouth and then start talking?
So,
Yeah.
I want to talk about a live album.
Okay.
It was a live album that I think me, like a lot of people, maybe my age and maybe a generation before,
Yeah.
probably grew up with because of their dads.
Okay.
It was an album by the artist Harry Chapin. Yes.
Harry and
I feel like I may know the name of this album.
It's his live record. He did two. There was the second album was called Legends of the Lost and Found, which is a really good live album. But the first one is called Greatest Stories Live,
Oh,
Nice.
wasn't what I was thinking.
which is I think
Was yours just more songs about bananas? Because that's the album I want.
Sure.
Harry Chapin and lots more songs about bananas.
yes. But yeah, it's Harry Chapin's live record. My dad was a huge Harry Chapin fan.
Yeah.
Great singer-songwriter music. Of course, you might not know that name in this generation, but I'm sure you've heard the song "Cats in the Cradle."
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that song because everybody who's ever had a dad in their life identifies with that song in some way.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that way back on the music episode, like a long time ago. But
yeah, and for that matter, I think we even talked about it a little bit during the BioShock Infinite playthrough on YouTube.
yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
I could pinpoint the moment of that song where my heart breaks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's everybody knows that song, but this is it's a double LP. So I always recommend if you have a chance to listen to it on wax, do so. But it's just him doing his concert, which is really personal.
Yeah.
Him sitting on a bar stool with his guitar and his really good band. Telling stories, singing his songs, being funny with the band.
Yeah.
A couple great songs, it's live performances of some of his great stuff. Cats in the Cradle, obviously, is on there. There's a great Harry Chapin song called Taxi. If you've ever been in love with somebody and then had that love fade out, it's kind of a song about that. WOLD. That's a good one. My favorite song, 30,000 Pounds of Bananas, is just as good as that name implies.
Does that song take place in Scranton?
Scranton, Pennsylvania.
does,
That's what I thought.
It was just after dark when the truck started down the hill that leads into Scranton, Pennsylvania, carrying 30,000 pounds of bananas. Yeah.
Which I still don't know if that's a lot or not that many bananas.
That's a lot of bananas.
It seems like
that's a metric fuckload of bananas, and that's a true story. That song, like everybody thinks that's a cute, funny song. That's a true story. There's a truck driver who crashed into. If you've ever been to Scranton, it sits at the bottom of a hill,
like a soup bowl,
much like most of Pennsylvania,
right? Yeah, much like a lot of Pennsylvania, it sits at the bottom of the hill, and you could see the hill that the truck driver. It's a song about a truck driver who basically crashes a truckload of bananas into the town square because he forgot to shift his truck into a low gear going down the hill, and he just smashes the truck into the town. And it's a true story. The guy died, and they think actually the reason that the truck crashed in such spectacular fashion is because at the end of his run at the bottom of the road, he jackknifed the truck on purpose because he was coming to a row of houses.
Yeah.
And he was going to barrel through several rows of suburbs, and he jackknifed the truck in the town square to stop further loss of life.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so he basically just ended up killing himself instead of killing dozens of people.
I didn't realize that dude died.
Yeah, he died. He crashed. The truck.
They say so in the song.
Yeah, the hill in Scranton is
I listen to the full song.
Yeah, we'll have to listen. I'll put it on when we're done. But yeah, it's the hill in Scranton comes straight down, and he hit it like 90 miles an hour. He hits the bottom of this hill, and stop himself from barreling into people's homes and killing people. They think he just jackknifed the truck on purpose to, which makes the song a whole. It's a song that's kind of like it's jaunty. It's it's really light. Yeah, it's a country song. It's like it's a light, airy kind of jaunty country song, and it picks up in tempo as the story goes on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes the song a whole lot more serious because the guy actually did that on purpose. But it's a great record, a really good live album, a good example of we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. Why the singer-songwriter genre is so good, because it's just people telling you stories and putting it to music.
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't feel glossy and produced and fake.
Exactly. Right. It's all very genuine. And Harry Chapin, I think, did a lot of stuff that is hit and miss.
Yeah.
All the good stuff is on those 2 live albums that he did.
Sure.
And Dad was a huge Harry Chapin fan. I think he's one of those guys he sounds better in front of an audience, playing with his band, live. So it's a good one. Check that out. When we go upstairs, I'll put on the full 30,000 Pounds of Bananas from that album.
I know that you've played it before, but I feel like for some reason I just never fully
Listen to the
paid
words.
attention.
Listen to the words. It's a fun song to play too. If you ever get the chance to learn how to play it on an instrument, like on a guitar, it's a lot of fun. So check that one out.
I dig that. What do you got?
I've got 2 recommendations. One of which is something we are all intimately familiar with, but which I want to recommend regardless. But to start with, I want to recommend, because I've been playing through it again, Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, classic. One of my favorite games.
You can get it on Steam. It's an older game. It's like it was like first generation Xbox.
Yep. 03.
2003. Yeah. So this game is 14 years old, almost 15. Sorry, I dropped my pen. And it still holds up. It's BioWare before Mass Effect, before Dragon Age. It is their breakout hit. It is set in the Star Wars universe before Disney, said the extended universe lore doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
But it revolves around you gotta Darth Malak is in charge of the Sith fleet. This is like 10,000 years before the original trilogy, and you gotta fight the Sith. You gotta stop the Sith. It's an RPG, very heavily based on the classic D20 system. So if you like Dungeons and Dragons and like min-maxing your builds and everything, you'll probably dig Knights of the Old Republic.
I started this game and I didn't finish it.
Great characters, great settings, just really good everything. About this game. Some moral dilemmas that are not quite... It starts you off with some easy ones, There's some guys being robbed by thugs. Do you save them, or do you offer to help the thugs in exchange for some money? Which one's good and which one's evil?
Yeah. But of course, playing evil is always actually one of the better joys of any Star Wars game, right?
I'm one of those guys. I have to play good first, and then I can go through and play
Me too.
evil. I have to play good first.
I'm in my current playthrough. I just decided to start playing it again just because I missed it. I'm doing light side, which has its own benefits. Light side spells that buff your party and heal you and stuff like that. They cost less if you're light side.
I believe the light side ending is canon too.
It is. It is the light side ending. Without spoiling anything, light side is canon.
That's sweet.
Because there is a pretty big fucking spoiler.
Yeah. There is. Yeah.
Many people are familiar with in KOTOR.
No kidding.
It puts the whole context of the game into a whole different light. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what's worse is they dangle it in front of your face
the whole time. Yeah.
There's certain lines that allude to it.
Sure.
It's anyway. So yeah, it's on Steam. Get it. If you're like me and you like a little bit of you like fucking around with your games and the way they work, flawless widescreen is the program you want. Yep. Star Wars, unfortunately, does not support native 1920 by 1080 resolution. It's that old of a game. Yeah. So if you wanna run it in that resolution without using a window, you gotta get a separate program for it. But I will say it's maybe it's worth it. I don't know. It doesn't improve it too much. I would honestly.
You could go either way.
I would honestly at this point just rather run it in a window compared to all the trouble I went through to set it up to run at 1080p.
Yeah.
But
that and playing it at its sort of like original max is sort of I don't know. It's nice. It's the way the game looked.
That's the thing. It doesn't even go as wide as my monitor. Yeah. It's letterboxed on the sides because widescreen wasn't supported at the time.
Yeah, there's something fun and authentic about that.
Sure.
Playing a game the way it was originally designed.
Sure. Still a great game. Still a well-written game with great voice acting. Even though, half the voice acting you're going to hear is alien languages. It's the same, voice samples that are.
Yeah, sure. It works.
The average person can't speak Hut.
I remember the game was very beautiful too.
Yeah. For its time, it was really like all the atmosphere, the ambient. The first planet you go to is Terrace, which is otherwise known as not Coruscant. The entire planet's a big city. You got all these like flying cars and speeders going around, and it's really neat looking. You get to go to Tatooine, which of course is really fucking cool. You get to go to Kashyyyk, the Wookiee homeworld.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's a really cool game. It makes you earn your way to being a Jedi too. Yes. Like you gotta go through some shit before you get
there's
to be
like
a Jedi.
10 hours of gameplay before you're a Jedi. You're
That's
there.
The thing I liked about Jedi Academy. It didn't take quite as long, but like it was an incremental process.
Yeah, you had to work
Sure.
out. Yeah,
you start off very. In fact, in the original Dark Forces 2, you had nothing.
Yeah. You start with a blaster.
Yeah, you start off as a regular dude.
Yeah.
what's really great about Knights of the Old Republic also is, you start off as a regular dude, but you discover, hey, you might have a connection to the Force. Maybe we should take you for Jedi training.
Yeah. And then you get to go meet not Master Yoda,
right?
not Tentacle Master,
not Master Ed Asner.
Yeah.
But it takes you through, and it really kind of gives you a good insight as to the philosophy of the Jedi. You know, there is no emotion, there is peace, there is no chaos, there is harmony. There's like this whole 5-point creed of the Jedi that you got to learn.
And
it's
the
one
Sith,
of your tests,
for that matter.
And the Sith, you visit the Sith Academy at one point in the game on the planet Korriban.
Yeah.
But it's a really great game. I highly recommend it. Even to this day, it's probably one of the best single player RPGs I've ever played. Yeah. My other recommendation is something that we all know and love very well.
This podcast.
Listen to this podcast.
You're already doing it, so good job.
Just keep on doing it.
It is something I recently read through again and reminded me how much I love it. One of my father's favorite poems, "The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock" by T.S. Eliot.
Prufrock. Yes.
Which perfectly captures the mind space of any man who has ever felt unloved, unappreciated, rejected.
You might say involuntarily celibate.
Shut up!
In the square, women come and go, talking of Michelangelo.
It's a long read.
It is a very long read.
It's a bit of a long read for a poem of its time, but
Do I dare to eat a peach?
but
Yes.
but it flows in a way like you wouldn't think conventional early modern poetry would flow.
Yeah.
Lots of rhymes within rhymes, lots of wordplay and just playing with its own structure. It's a great poem. It's it's all about a man who feels he's past his prime, basically.
Sure.
There's no real plot to it. It's just a man who
It's a slice of life.
It really is. It's the story of any man who has ever reached out for love and failed to grasp it, and felt inadequate because of it. It's again, like I said, one of my dad's favorite poems. He would whenever me and him and my brother would go somewhere, he would recite the first few lines. "Let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky, like a patient etherized upon a table." And I never knew what that was from until I was much older and found the poem on my own. But it's one of my favorite poems by consequence, because it really hits a very sensitive part of any man who just wants to be accepted. Who has ever felt love blossoming and not felt it returned.
Yeah.
I
think everybody has had that experience.
Or
many people don't talk about it, but everyone has.
Yeah. The part that strikes me the most is the bit where he's talking about being deferential, glad to be of use. He just being content to be a side character in someone else's story. He's no longer the hero of his own story. He's a supporting actor in someone else's story where they're the hero, and he gets to be part of something at least. It's maybe next to Break by Tennyson, the saddest poem I know of. But it'll hit you, and it will make you feel
feelings.
It'll make you feel like you're not alone in whatever you're going through. It's definitely a man thing. It's definitely something.
Yeah, there's a very specific kind of male sadness.
Yeah, there is.
It is. It talks about going bald, gaining weight, wearing unfashionable clothes.
Hey!
It talks
all of those things.
Just check my hairline, my body, and my clothing.
You see this? You see this fucking shit right here? It's horrible. All of it. I'm losing it all. Oh God!
But it does speak to a very masculine breed of despondence.
Well, yeah, we have our own particular needs, struggles, shortcomings, and longing, sadness.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, I read it recently, which is why I bring it up now. It's one of the greatest poems probably ever written.
I think you could make that argument.
Ends on one of the saddest couple of lines in the history of poetry, and just read it. It'll take you 10 minutes. Read The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot, Thomas Stearns Eliot.
Nice.
Even better, there's recordings of him reading it.
Yeah, I would say that's the first time I heard it. Is your dad played it for me in poetry class?
Yeah,
actually, it was him reading.
Let us go then, you and I.
Prufrock.
He was an American who emigrated to the UK, and so there's a bit of a mixture of there's kind of a transatlantic accent going on. Like a patient etherized upon a table.
So you have just given me my recommendation. Because I had one that I was going to talk about. I'm totally going to talk about this other one instead.
Okay.
There is a Reddit user. He is possibly my favorite.
Good start.
His name is Poem for Your Sprog.
Yes!
I don't know.
I know this person, not personally, but I know of him.
Yes.
I've seen him.
He's legendary on Reddit. He
Poem
shows up
for your sprog.
He shows up on threads all over the place and just writes a poem. And then sometimes people will respond to him, and he'll respond in the form of another poem.
Yeah.
I'm looking for him in particular because I just want to see if I can pull up a particular poem of his.
I was hoping for a second you would be talking about the guy who shows up in Ask Reddit threads, posts big, long, multi-paragraph stories that include some reference at some point of his dad beating him with jumper cables.
Guy's amazing.
It's always there.
Yeah.
You never know when it's going to come up, but it always does.
Unfortunately, the mobile layout for Reddit is sort of garbage.
It's not very good.
It's not very good. Let's see if I can find something that people might relate to right now. Let's see. He just shows up places and writes a weird random poem and everybody loves him.
Probably my favorite gimmick account of, because real talk too, his poems are really good.
Yeah, they're really great.
He's actually really, really good at this.
I will tell you my favorite one from, it's a recent one. It was from one day ago. It was on a thread about what's the best, scariest, or most interesting internet rabbit hole you have found.
Ted's caving page.
And what happened was Reddit continued to kill various websites with the traffic they generated from sending
the
people
Reddit
there.
hug of death.
Yeah. So, Poem for Your Sprog responded to the fact that they kept killing sites with this poem. When little Timmy penned a word on sorrow and regret, his sad and lonely plea was heard across the internet. He typed a teeny tiny note, a cry for help, a call. I only want a friend, he wrote, or just a hug, that's all. They saw and read and shared his thread with hope and peace and joy. We'll make him see he's loved, they said, and came to see the boy.
I think I know this one.
And so arrived the jolly throng to hug the lad with pride. Alas, they hugged him far too long, and Timmy fucking died.
That wasn't the one I was thinking of, but it ends the exact same way.
He ends several of these with Timmy fucking died. And it's amazing every time. I cannot recommend enough going and just looking at the user page
That's
for
great.
Poem for Your Sprog.
I feel like I have to recite a poem now.
Well, I read it off a screen. I'm not, I'm not giving, I'm not. That's not a reflection on me, but he does these everywhere. In fact, there was even one. I want to say there was a showdown between Poem for Your Sprague and the guy who writes refrigerator haikus. Mm-hmm. The haikus that literally all end with the word refrigerator. Yeah. And they went back and forth for a while, and I believe Poem for Your Sprague included the word refrigerator into one of his poems.
That's a great word for a poem, refrigerator.
It's horrible. It's, it's like almost, very, very limited rhyme.
Yeah. I feel like I have to recite poetry.
Yeah. Maybe that's a good recommendation in general. Is
read poetry.
Oh,
read more poetry.
Here's the one I was thinking of. When little Timmy went to school and mastered 1 to 9, he thought the other kids were cool and every class divine. He painted shapes in red and blue and drew in curves and bends, and by the time the day was through, he'd made 100 friends. I'm pals with Pete and Mike and Max, he told his pa with pride. But Timmy's folks were anti-vax, and Timmy fucking died.
That's good.
That's dark!
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. No, he does a number of them that end with Timmy fucking died. It just works really well. So yeah, maybe...
Read poetry.
Read poetry. Right. Read Poem for Your Sprague. But especially maybe we should just say, read poetry. It's to tie it back in, it's the winter. It's a contemplative time. You're going to be indoors a lot. Read. Just read.
Yeah.
I got one. Well, let's, before we go to this, I'm going to do my best Bryan Cranston impression.
Your breast, Bryan Cranston?
Breast.
Well, please, lift your shirt.
I'm going to do my best Bryan Cranston impression here, and I'll leave you with this before we go with what we learned.
I bought Dippin' Tits, Skylar.
All right. This is the only poem I know by heart. I learned this, and then... I learned this.
I know this one.
I learned this for Phil Brady's class, and then 2 days before I had to recite it for Phil Brady's class, the Breaking Bad episode where Bryan Cranston recites it came out, and I'm like, oh, good, now I look like a dick.
I know which one it is now too.
I met a traveler from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, in the sand half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command. Fuck, I can't remember.
No! Whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command.
It's got to rhyme with lies, right?
Whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command.
Use a screen.
Well-read, his sculptor. Fuck.
God,
guys,
I can't believe it.
Listen, we're from the generation that doesn't have memory. Just look at it on the thing.
Oh, God, I used to know this.
Let the thing tell you what to say.
A shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tells his...
All right, here we go.
His sculptor well those passions read.
Yeah, I got it. Let me just recite it from here. I met a traveler from an antique land who said,
"How y'all doing?"
2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert.
And I said, "Who are you, and why are you talking to me about this?"
Near them,
sorry,
on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things. And on the pedestal, these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty in despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.
You're gonna die and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right, yeah. And everything you do means nothing.
On this stone it said, 2 for 1 special.
On the Taco Bell.
The nearby Taco Bell. Tacos 2 for 1 today.
Ooh. All right, what did we learn, guys?
Look upon my roasts, ye mighty, and despair.
For I have the needs.
Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality.
Gentlemen, what did we learn?
Immortality.
I wrote, thanks, Jews.
I wrote thanks, Jews, also.
I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't.
You anti-Semite.
You fucking Jew-hating fuck. I wrote Jamie Cruz because you said that and I thought that was funny.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Jamie
'cause
Cruz.
Oh, Jamie Cruz.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I wrote Unabomber and Meat Tank, but I forget
What?
Unabomber, I forget what it was about. The Meat Tank was about putting horses into a big tank.
Oh,
full of
yeah,
meat.
you gotta grind up them horses.
I learned.
didn't learn any.
Gotta grind that meat.
Gotta grind that meat.
I learned an ugly person is ugly to the bone.
Yeah. Stay out.
Same for bad people.
Yeah. Yeah, bad people are ugly to the bone. Ugly
Yes.
people might be good on the
Bad
inside.
people are bad to the bone, Ben.
I learned stay out of the fucking woods.
Yeah, it's not good.
I learned that everyone is Ian McKellen.
Yeah, I wrote that too. I read that Bruce Lee once kicked a man so hard he broke
Yes.
the arm of the man behind him.
That's
Yeah.
a true story, kids.
Fuck me.
Related, I learned Bruce Lee is a force of nature.
Yeah, right. Not like a person, but like a
Yeah, a
hurricane.
force of nature.
I'm a force of nature.
I learned that there was a chicken apocalypse that was averted by Gaston.
Yep.
Had no idea.
I gotta find this thing because it's
Is
amazing.
that you got? Is that all you got?
I learned that we are misty little babies.
Misty, we are
Every
misty.
time we talk about something with any kind of heart to it.
Well, I guess finally I learned that I'm fat, you're drunk, fuck off.
And that's it.
And that's it.
And that's it. That's
it.
the three. That's the three dudes. That's the three dudes. That might be
Promise.
the best thing we ever
That's
learned.
the three dudes'
it.
promise.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fat, drunk, and stupid.
Fat, drunk, and stupid. And we will be back next week for more fat, more drunk, and more stupid.
That's right. I'll be hosting.
And you'll be hosting.
I gotta pick a topic.
Yes, you do.
Holy fuck, man.
You got a whole week to munch Doritos and think about it.
I know.
But until next time,
Three dudes.
rubbing our
food.
Why are we rubbing our
They
breasts?
can't see
That's
this.
cold.
Doesn't matter. Next time. We love you. Bye.